in his song for political use.
You know, it's the one thing that has bothered me is seeing people wrap politics up into this. I'm disappointed to see, like, it's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them. It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and act like we're fighting the same struggle here, like that we're trying to present the same message. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've tried to be polite to everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of people the last 2 weeks. But it seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell. The other thing that I find aggravating is, well, you know, like, it was funny seeing my song in the. It was funny seeing it at the presidential debate, because it's like I wrote that song about those people, you know. So for them to have to sit there and listen to that cracks me up. But it was funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know? It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden. That song is written about the people on that stage, and a lot more too, not just them, but definitely them.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but you know, the flip side is that's where I get, you know, you have to guard against being too jaded. The flip side that, you know, pox in all their house, all politicians are the same. We know that's not true. And the policy choices that different policymakers are making are more or less aligned with what Oliver Anthony is lamenting. And I think you have to make distinctions if you're a thoughtful person. I mean, you just can't wave off, because what's the alternative? Should we go to a constitutional monarchy? Do you want to wave off a representative Republican form of government? Because if you don't, then politicians, you know, people holding public office are part of that. So I just wish, I'm not asking him for him to be a political scientist or a conservative talker, and I appreciate the message, and I appreciate its resonance, and I appreciate just the fact that he's a talented musician. I love his voice. But, you know, everybody on that stage, everybody in Washington, everybody in public office, I just think that's a little cheap. By the way, if you think that, oh, this is an opportunity to wag your finger at the right for daring to amplify Oliver Anthony's message, he has a message for the left, too.
I do need to address the left as well, because they're sending a message out that initial song that sort of shot me up the radar, Richmond, North of Richmond, is an attack against the poor. If you listen to my other music, it's obvious that all of my songs that reference class defend the poor. Doggone, it's a good example of that. Needles in the street, folks hardly surviving on sidewalks next to highways full of cars self-driving. The poor keep hurting and the rich keep thriving. It's like, that's what I like to sing about. And, you know, the English language is interpretive, and so I do understand, like, there may be some people who misunderstood my words in Richmond, North of Richmond. But I've got to be clear that my message, like with any of my songs, it references the inefficiencies of the government because of the politicians within it that are engulfed in bribes and extortion. And, you know, the words say that there's people on the street with nothing to eat and the obese milking welfare. That references a news article I read earlier this summer that adolescent kids in Richmond are missing meals over the summer because their parents can't afford to feed them, and they're not in school to eat cafeteria lunch. And meanwhile, I think like 30 or 40% of the food bought with welfare or EBT money is in a classification of like snack food and soda. I think 10% spent on soda, and I want to say like 20 or 30% spent on junk food. And that's not the fault of those people. welfare only makes up a small percentage of our budget. You know, we can fuel a proxy war in a foreign land, but we can't take care of our own. That's all the song's trying to say. It's just saying that the government takes people who are needy dependent and makes them needy independent.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Yes and no. I agree and I disagree with the statement. Yes, the government is in the business of engendering dependency because it's a loyal constituency, state dependence. No, it's to the notion that it's not their fault, it's the government's fault. Every human being has agency. I refuse to strip agency away from adults. They have agency. They make their choices. Everybody's responsible for their choices. If you're not, then you're going to expand the very institution whose inefficiencies you're decrying there, young Oliver. But I don't, as I said, I don't expect him to be a political theorist. But let's just talk about it. Since he wants to talk about it, let's talk about it. It's fine. Because he's got a lot bigger following than I do these days. But I'm not trying to attach myself to him either. Let's address what he's saying. Because there's certainly some things that are important and have great resonance, thus the response it's generating. But it doesn't mean that you adopt everything he has to say wholesale. He's not Christ. He's not coming down to deliver the truth. He's delivering some truths. Frank in Arlington Heights, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. You know, Friday we missed you when you weren't there early in the morning, and I thought that maybe you were trapped near the inner circle of thought.
Not the chamber.
Do you remember that line? No. Do you remember that line in movie?
I remember the line, but I can't remember the movie.
Yeah. It's Rip Torn, and it's the movie Defending Your Life, I think. With Arthur Brooks is the guy's name?
Yeah, Arthur Brooks.
Great.
Yeah. No.
Great movie.
No, wait. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah, go ahead. Anyway, go ahead.
Arthur Brooks, yeah. So, anyway, I thought maybe you were, philosophizing, Kierkegaard or Heidegger or something like that, and you got trapped there.
If only I had that much free time, Frank.
Yeah.
Trying to get there.
But on Mr. Anthony, he's got some of the things he says has a lot of truth. The system attracts people who abuse power. Mm-hmm. We may be able to elect people in the jurisdictions where the elections are still fair, because I don't trust the elections in some of these jurisdictions really at all. So there's that aspect of it. But even when we are able to elect them, fairly, the whole system as it is just corrupts them. In Imperial Russia, the government officials used to not get really big salaries because they used to just get bribes. Today we have it where the government officials get salaries, and then after they're done, after a couple of years, if they're the type that doesn't want to stay there forever, they wind up going and working for defense contractors or as lobbyists or whatever. Or they're bribed,
or they're bribed for life with a defined benefit pension.
That too. It's so something's got to change with the way that the system works, because it isn't working, and he's absolutely right about that. It doesn't look out for people.
I do. I appreciate that. I think I agree with you, and I think he's right about that. I do think he's right about that. Also, something too. I mean, I think he's like a guy. He's said this. He had struggles with alcohol and depression over the last 5 years. It's been a little bit dicey, it sounds like, for him from time to time, working in a factory and just getting by like a lot of people.
Yeah, he lives in a trailer that he bought on a piece of land that he paid, what, $60,000 for?
I think 90, and he owes 60.
Oh.
Although I think he can pay that off now. And good. I'm glad for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also think, he's one of these guys, like a lot of artists, who feels things deeply, and he uses his art to express himself. And I thought this was, an authentic, self-reflective moment that he shared with all those who are interested in what he has to say.
I feel terrible almost that I've been put in this place, because there are a lot of artists and musicians out there that are far more talented, that have put in way more hours than me. Like, I don't deserve to sit in the top 5 places on the iTunes charts. And the truth is, I really could give a shit less about the iTunes charts. What I care about is connecting with people. What I care about is I don't know what this country is going to look like in 10 or 20 years if things don't change. I don't know what this world's going to look like. And like, something has to be done about it, you know? There's been too many people die. There's been too many people sacrifice everything they've had. People die before they're even 18, you know? Just for us to all sit here and just do the stupid shit it is that we do every day that keeps us all beat down and divided. Like, that's what I want to see stop. And I'm going to do everything I can to influence that at all costs, even if it does throw my world upside down. It's well worth it. But for now, I'm hanging in there, and I'm doing what I can.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If your money is not earning at least 5.25% tax deferred, you need to call Professional Life and Casualty. They're offering a 5.25% APY on new funds deposited into your annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA accounts. Rate subject to change. Please call to confirm. With Professional Life and Casualty, you pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Professional Life and Casualty has been providing insurance and annuity products for over 60 years. Visit plcinsurance.com. plcinsurance.com. They'll send you a free guide to tax-deferred, no-fee annuity. Earn 5.25% APY on annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Only from Professional Life and Casualty. Call 1-800-651-1800. That's 1-800-651-1800.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
He left behind white supremacist writings. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The white man who killed 3 black people at a store in Jacksonville, Florida, Saturday.
We cannot tolerate hate against our black community. We simply cannot and will not tolerate it.
Jacksonville Mayor Donna Deegan at a vigil.
Governor Ron DeSantis canceled presidential campaign plans to attend the memorial, telling mourners authorities will not allow people to be targeted based on their race. Police have identified the gunman as a 21-year-old white man who bought guns legally, despite once being involuntarily committed for a mental health examination.
Fox's Marianne Rafferty. That gunman tried to kill more black people, chasing them inside the store. Then he killed himself as police arrived. Trump lawyers are back in court today in Washington, where a federal judge is considering a trial date in the criminal case against the former president related to his attempts to overturn the 2020 election. The special counsel wants a January 2nd trial. Trump lawyers want it in April 2026. Meanwhile,
what's a picture worth? In this case, $7.1 million. That, according to the Trump campaign, is their fundraising take since Thursday, when the former president was booked with a mugshot at the Fulton County Jail in Georgia on 2020 election-related criminal charges.
Fox's Paul Stevens. Now, in that Georgia case, 18 others are also charged in addition to the former president, including then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, who's going to federal court today trying to get his case moved out of state court. Tropical storm Idalia is churning toward Florida, expected to hit the Gulf Coast Wednesday as a major hurricane, anywhere from Tampa up to the Panhandle. Governor Ron DeSantis says,
if you are in the path of this storm, you should expect power outages. So please prepare for that.
10 years after Simone Biles won the U.S. Gymnastics All-Around Championship, she won it again last night for the 8th time. That is a U.S. record. America's listening to Fox News.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden?
62 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. And good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. A 20-year-old man was killed in a shooting during a robbery in the parking lot of a gas station in the Calumet Heights neighborhood early this morning. Chicago police say the shooting occurred around 12:15 in the parking lot of a Shell gas station along East 95th. Area 2 detectives say there right now is no one in custody. 3 people are dead following separate motorcycle crashes in Kankakee County. Motorcyclist struck a deer in Grant Park, killing 2. The second incident happened about an hour later near Momence. Both crashes are under investigation. An investigation is underway after a teen was shot outside of an Aldi's supermarket in Cicero. It was near where more than 200 teens gathered in a mob outside of a theater. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the leg. Employees at the Chicago Reserve Roastery along Chicago's Magnificent Mile have soundly rejected union membership. Workers voted not to join that union Friday and Saturday in a vote. It's a major setback for Workers United of SEIU, which has been working to sign up Starbucks workers across the country. And in 17 of locations where workers have been signed up, those workers are rejecting the union and are trying to decertify from the union. Indiana Task Force 1 is back in the Hoosier State today. Team made up of specialists from central Indiana fire departments have been deployed to Maui, helping with search and rescue after the deadly wildfires there. COVID-19 cases remain very low in every county in Illinois. However, in spite of that, IDPH is reporting wastewater surveillance, detecting a small rise in a few areas of COVID activity. IDPH is also monitoring much more serious respiratory viruses ahead of the fall and winter seasons. Cubs claim their series against the Pirates with a 10-1 blowout win. White Sox beat Oakland 6-1 at Guaranteed Rate Field. California claims the Little League Baseball World Series. The Bears turn their attention to the regular season following a final preseason loss to Buffalo. They get a head start on reducing that roster to 53 by releasing quarterback P.J. Walker, and that means rookie quarterback Tyson Bagent gets the backup at QB2 for now. The news, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go with surroundchicago.com today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Join John Anthony, host of Black and Right, for a cruise on Lake Michigan on Saturday, September 9th. Come aboard the luxury yacht Free Spirit for a fun afternoon with fellow AM 560 listeners. Enjoy great food and beverages and be a part of the live broadcast of Black and Right with John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cruise. That's 560theanswer.com/cruise.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Cars embody American freedom, individual liberty, and mobility combined. In many ways, the automobile is a symbol of American freedom. But elites enthralled to the green agenda are meddling with Americans and their cars. In 9 mostly blue states, they're pushing to create a market for electric vehicles. In Connecticut, in 12 years, you'll only be able to buy electric cars. How arrogant for politicians to try to substitute their own judgment for the free market. Look at the terrible track record of planned economies. As always, those who will be hurt most are those who could least afford it. They'll be forced to drive increasingly older cars ever farther to find increasingly expensive gas, as gas stations become fewer and farther between. It'll empower China, which controls 85% of the critical mineral supply needed to produce electric car motors. And what about the trafficked children enslaved in the Congo, mining cobalt for the batteries? What a complete travesty.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay 0 penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the sound of your counters and cabinets smoking and smoldering following a house fire that's affected your entire kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from ServPro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What? Aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why ServPro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. You can text the word app to 64636. Eden's at 18 right now, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy 45 in from O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. A right lane block due to an accident in the express inbound between Montrose and North Avenue. Tri-State accident on the exit ramp to the northbound Eisenhower. That's the outbound Ike. Stop and go traffic there. Disabled vehicle right shoulder on Jane Addams I-90 westbound just after Barrington Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, pleasant day. High today at 80. For tonight, clear and a low 63. A partly sunny day tomorrow. Shower in spots, high 81. Sunny, breezy day on Wednesday, much cooler. The high on Wednesday afternoon, 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
59 at O'Hare. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. One correction. I knew it sounded wrong, but I couldn't pull it. It was just too early in the morning.
What did you do now, Dan?
No, it was Frank in Arlington Heights. I have to correct him, but also I didn't correct him. I had to think about it. Albert Brooks, not Arthur Brooks. Defending Your Life, Albert Brooks. Arthur Brooks was the former head of the American Enterprise Institute. Albert Brooks is the comedic actor.
Yes.
All right, so we just got to correct the record. Got profile on corrections on this show. All right, we need to update both what's going on with Biden Inc., as well as what's going on with Trump's various legal railings and the public reaction to them, particularly in light of the latest that features the first mugshot that is being used by both sides as anticipated. But let's start with Biden Incorporated, because Brian Kilmeade had the occasion to interview one former Ukrainian general prosecutor named Viktor Shokin. He's the one that was targeted for removal by Biden. Not just Biden. There's other contextual issues around Viktor Shokin that raise questions about his judiciousness as a prosecutor and whether there was corruption in his office, as is alleged. I mean, there's some legitimate questions about Shokin's time as prosecutor, particularly his raid of the Anti-Corruption Action Center, ANTAC, raid in Ukraine, claiming it had misappropriated money. It was seen as actually prosecutors in Shokin's office that had potentially taken bribes. They were like caught with stashes of diamonds and cash, somewhat unusual for a prosecutor. Whether or not the raid on the Anti-Corruption Action Center was something along the lines of the raid that happened to that small newspaper in Kansas, which was the law enforcement trying to cover its ass, and Shokin was perhaps compromised. So I'm not saying that Shokin is without question here, that he has got a clean bill of health when it comes to the corruption issue, but this is politics. And it's sort of mob politics, and so you're going to have people turning on other people that aren't necessarily coming to the table with clean hands. But it doesn't mean what they're saying is inaccurate, and so it's difficult to discern because you've got to answer the questions of the motivations of all the parties as well as their integrity. Here's what Shokin had to say with Kilmeade about the decision that then Ukrainian Prime Minister Poroshenko made to fire him.
Why were you fired from your position by President Poroshenko?
I have said repeatedly in my previous interviews that Poroshenko fired me at the insistence of the then Vice President Biden because I was investigating Burisma.
So did President Poroshenko tell you that he wanted you to stay on the job, but there was pressure from Vice President Biden?
You understood me correctly. This is how it was. There were no complaints whatsoever, no problems with how I was performing at my job. But because pressure was repeatedly put on President Poroshenko, that is what ended up in him firing me.
Yeah, that's not exactly true. There was pressure coming from not just the United States, but also the IMF and the EU. Now, again, was the pressure coming from the IRF and the EU a result of the pressure coming from the Biden administration because Biden was Obama's point person for Ukraine and Biden was applying the pressure on behalf of his son's financial interests? These are the things that need to be unpacked. It's not clear, but you got a prosecutor talking, and it would be great to get him in a situation where he could be cross-examined, and perhaps we could get to something more closely approximating the truth. Here's what Shokin had to say about his investigation into Burisma.
The reason I oversaw the Burisma case was because I was the prosecutor general. Burisma was an ordinary case. There wasn't anything particularly different about it. The reason that I was handling it was because it deserved a special mention. It was on a list of cases to merit special attention because Hunter Biden was involved with Burisma, and of course his father, the vice president, Biden at the time, oversaw Ukraine affairs for the White House. I have no doubt that there were illegal activities engaged in by Burisma. As a matter of fact, the criminal case had been started before me. It continued to expand. And Zlochevsky, who at the time held the post of minister and was the founder and CEO of Burisma, started bringing in people who could provide protection for him. Hunter Biden was among them. And the corruption network expanded as a result. So, yes, to answer your question, there's no doubt in my mind that Burisma was engaged in illegal activities.
Now, it would have been nice if Kilmeade watched the interview that Devon Archer gave to Tucker Carlson more closely, or read the testimony he provided to Congress more closely, because he asked about Devon Archer's testimony, but he didn't ask the pertinent question.
It's going to be decided by the judge who is assigned to handle your case, okay? This is just a first appearance hearing for a case that's already been indicted. So I was just letting you know that we're not going to have a bond hearing today, but to the extent that you are before a judge, I'm telling you that bond is not going to be issued today. All right?
But then they took him into custody?
Well, he was in custody, so now he stays in custody. You heard him say, I got on a plane and I came here. How am I a flight risk? Also, why, I mean, in this case, even though she's not the presiding judge, so she's kicking it to him, she's also offering commentary about why he should be denied bond. And the state must have filed it would seem to me, a petition to deny bond. Well, why would they do that with him? Very strange.
And he's representing himself. He says he can't afford a private lawyer.
Right. He's not being afforded a public guardian, and he said in the back and forth during that hearing, it costs $40 to $100,000 on retainer. I can't afford that right now. And so she sort of said, well, you'll have time to hire an attorney. Yeah, you got all kinds of time. You're sitting in a hole in Fulton County. You got nothing but time. He's a George Washington University grad. The other case he's referring to, it sounds like he's been perhaps gotten the double bubble from the federal government. He was charged in a separate case in May with second-degree assault for, quote-unquote, attacking an FBI agent who had served him a grand jury subpoena in the DOJ's investigation related to, quote-unquote, overturning the results of the 2020 election. He refused to accept the subpoena, put his finger in the face of one of the FBI agents and said, you haven't given me anything. I don't know who the blank you are. Put his finger to the face of one of them. And that's it. And as he said, the state declined to move charges against him, but then the U.S. attorney stepped in. So he's got a pending case for putting his finger in the face of an FBI agent serving him a subpoena, as attended to the federal investigation into quote-unquote overturning the 2020 election results. And now he's being denied bond in Fulton County in large measure. You're at risk of committing other felonies because of that incident.
But Fulton County Jail, 15 inmates died there last year, including one whose family says in a lawsuit was eaten alive by bed bugs.
Yeah,
9 people die there every year, but 15 last year.
Well, the point is, so he's being he's essentially being treated like one of those January 6th insurrectionists, quote unquote insurrectionists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why single him out?
And he's black too. Okay.
Very, very curious times. I think the ratcheting up of outrage is yet to come, given the sort of, just the read on the sort of arguments that are being offered, not just by prosecutors, but in part by judges there. Okay, I'm going to kick it to him. Well, we'll see what the presiding judge does in that case, because if he has the same approach as the Honorable Judge Emily Richardson, I think there are going to be more questions asked, and they should continue to be asked for these people that are being wrongly held.
But she seems to be enjoying keeping him in jail so much.
Ostensibly, to some extent, with respect to the accusations against them, more political prisoners than people being detained in order to ensure the public safety. I don't know. Not very compelling argument for me on that.
On the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
When you're in the market to buy or sell a home, commercial property, or even vacant land, let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. She's reliable, responsive, personable, and extremely thorough when helping you deal with an otherwise stressful transaction. Attorney Kim leads with her values and is committed to providing legal services with excellence. To contact Attorney Kim, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com. Whether it's drafting agreements, negotiating contract terms, or closing on a property, Attorney Susan J. Kim can do it all. Over 10 years of experience and her wealth of knowledge tackling complicated legal negotiations and breaking them down into a smooth, easy-to-understand process is what she does best. So let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. To schedule your legal consultation today, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com or call 847-906-3166. Susan J. Kim Attorney at Law is a state of Illinois licensed real estate attorney.
As we age, our energy levels tend to go down, leaving us feeling tired and wanting so badly to have the energy we once had. To enjoy activities like playing with children or grandchildren and carrying out daily tasks without feeling drained, it's essential to fuel our bodies with fruits and vegetables. That's where Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies can help. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies provide you with the additional nutrition your body needs to get that energy you lost. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text from 847, a lawyer friend of mine, makes a good point. Sing-song autocrat. Listen to that creepy judge, Emily Richardson in Fulton County. Sing-song autocrat. You know, she reminded me of, actually, after thinking about it and being triggered by his description.
What?
Emily Landon.
I know, yeah. These self-serving, oh, look, it's my time in the sun. Maybe I'll get a TV show as a judge off of this. Yeah, she seemed too happy. Another text message. Switching gears real quick. Rest in peace, Bob Barker. He got close to 100 without going over.
Hi-oh. Good one, Amish.
Sorry. All right, coming yes.
At 6:36, we'll remember Bob Barker later. With Jim Urio, we'll remember Joe the plumber, who passed away at the untimely age of 49. And we'll also talk Bidenomics. Jim Urio, 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
59 degrees at 6:33. The judge overseeing former President Trump's federal election case expected to set a trial date later today. Jacksonville, Florida Sheriff T.K. Waters calling a gunman's manifesto the diary of a madman.
We are not a community of hate. City. We reject this inexcusable violence.
At a news conference Sunday, the sheriff identified the 21-year-old male who shot and killed 3 African Americans on Saturday. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis repeated his condemnation of the shooter and say he's spoken with the president of nearby Edward Waters University.
We're not going to allow in the state of Florida our HBCUs to be targets for hateful lunatics like the guy yesterday.
Waters says the shooter's sickening ideologies do not reflect his city of Jacksonville. 1 person is dead after a shooting at a shopping center in Columbus, Ohio. Police are investigating. Tropical storm Idalia is now focused to arrive in Florida as a hurricane. National Hurricane Center Deputy Director Jamie Rome.
You don't need a strong storm or an impressive storm in this part of Florida to produce life-threatening storm surge. And I think this is going to be the part of the storm that really catches people off guard.
8 U.S. Marines remain hospitalized in the Australian North Coast city of Darwin after they were injured in a fiery crash of a tilt-rotor aircraft that killed 3 of their colleagues. A 20-year-old Chicago man was killed in a shooting during a robbery in the parking lot of a gas station that took place in the Calumet Heights neighborhood early this morning around 12:15 in the 1600 block of East 95th Street. An investigation is underway after a teen was shot outside of an Aldi's supermarket in Cicero. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the leg after a mob action by about 200 teens. And the 40th annual Chicago Triathlon took flight Sunday morning. Over 8,000 athletes took part. The swimming portion of the event was canceled due to unstable lake conditions and potentially dangerous high waves. Cubs over the Pirates 10-1. White Sox beat Oakland 6-1. Victor Hovland, your FedEx Cup champion, winning the Tour Championship at East Lake. He shot a final round 63, finished 27 under par. The news a service of Lowe's. Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get 10% off select in-stock Trex Enhance Naturals composite decking. Offer valid through 9/6. Selection varies by location. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka explains who we're dealing with.
Yeah, my son came home in a flag-draped casket too. No, he didn't. He died of cancer here in America. You were there at his side in the hospital when he died. What kind of person does that? Only one kind of person. That's who Joe Biden is. Wake up, America.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a professional tree climber. That's what I do for a living. And I'm just hopped up with this energy. Loved it. I want to keep those Balance of Nature. Matter of fact, I've told a bunch of people about them. I know that 2 or 3 of my friends have jumped on the bandwagon because I told them, I said, I just felt energized, all the time. It took a couple weeks for me to really notice, but I just had so much more energy. My doctor told me to keep taking them because he recommends it to his patients, and he takes them.
Go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you're a business owner, imagine getting up to $26,000 per employee. There's still time for business owners to file for the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. This program is for business owners who continue to pay their W-2 employees during the COVID pandemic. Many businesses qualify and simply do not know it. All business types and industries may qualify. You can claim the credit even if you received a PPP loan. This is a cash payment and not a loan, and can be claimed now. The licensed CPAs and tax professionals at DH Tax and Consulting have been serving business owners across the country for over 15 years. The best part is that until you receive your cash payment, you don't pay us a dime. Our tax credit specialists are available now at 833-ERC-FILE, and your tax payment estimate is quick, easy, and free. That's 833-ERC-FILE to qualify you and your business for up to $26,000 per W-2 employee for free federal aid. Call us now at 833-ERC-FILE. That's 833-ERC-FILE.
Angie makes it easier than ever to connect with skilled pros to get your home projects done well, from repair to remodel. Get started on the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
6:38, let's get an update on the roads. The service of Star Case. When you need to protect your valuable equipment, put it in a Star Case, the most dependable road cases you can buy. Designed and made here in the Midwest. Go to starcase.com to order your case now. Inbound Eden's already heavy 21 and building Lake Cook Road into the junction. 53 on the inbound Kennedy O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, typical Monday morning heavies. 49 from 390 into the old post office. Dan Ryan in, stop and go between 47th and the Stevenson in the express lanes inbound. Bishop Ford jamming up Cottage Grove into the Ryan merge. Watch out for an accident on the exit ramp on the Tri-State. Stop and go traffic from Roosevelt Road. The accident is onto the Eisenhower outbound ramp coming off the northbound Tri-State. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A pleasant day ahead, plenty of sunshine, high near 80. 81 tomorrow, 71 Wednesday, 79 on Thursday. Watch out over the weekend, highs in the 90s. But of course, they tell us it'll be a dry heat. 59 at O'Hare, 49 in Aurora, 59 in Lansing. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period. Roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Before there was Oliver Anthony, before there was, you remember the red sweater guy in 2016?
Oh, that's right.
Remember? What's his name?
Red sweater guy.
Ken Bone.
Ken Bone.
Before there was Ken Bone.
Forget Ham Bone. Remember, it was Ken Bone.
But after there was Lenny Skutnik. You remember who Lenny Skutnik is?
Vaguely. Help me out.
He was the plane crash survivor, the Potomac, that received the life-saving medal for helping other passengers off the plane.
Yep.
The first person to be recognized in the gallery by Reagan, the president, during a State of the Union speech.
Okay,
and then
I do remember
that precipitated this.
Now it's gone into crazy
Standard.
cray town.
Yeah, right. Every president does it. But before there was all of those people, and after Lenny Skutnik, there was Joe the plumber in 2008 confronting President Obama about the costs of Obamacare. I want to buy a plumbing business, but you're going to increase taxes on me. That's no go. And he was profiled by both John McCain and Barack Obama. I mean, he was like dominant in absentia in one of their presidential debates.
And he eventually ran for office, remember?
Yeah, in Ohio. He confronted Obama in Holland, Ohio. Well, he passed away the other day at the age of 49.
You said pancreatic cancer.
Pancreatic cancer. Here's a little quick summary the Associated Press did of Joe the plumber, both the infamous confrontation, although it was very genteel and gentlemanly, with Obama, and then his subsequent perspective on becoming political fodder for a presidential debate.
I tried to watch the whole thing, but my phone, I lost count after 200.
By some counts, Joe was mentioned more than 24 times.
It's Joe Wurzelberger.
Now, the conversation I had with Joe the plumber.
I want Joe the plumber to spread that wealth around.
In order to give additional tax cuts to Joe the plumber.
Yes. The saga began Sunday when Barack Obama encountered Wurzelbacher. The Holland, Ohio man told Obama he was planning to buy the plumbing business he works for and that Obama's tax proposal would cost him more money. If cameras hadn't been there, the exchange might never have gained notoriety.
My son's getting a huge kick out of this, and so it's really cool for him. Like I said earlier, if I can be used as a focal point, great, but ultimately there's major issues out there, and I'm just a flash in the pan. So
Wurzelbacher calls himself more conservative than Republican nominee John McCain.
My first impressions after the debates was, McCain had a lot of good things to say, and he didn't get them out, and so I was kind of upset with him because I thought he could have done better. Obama, like I've said, is a great speaker, and I think a lot of people could be fooled by that.
He also calls himself a blunt person.
I hope people can relate to me because all my friends have called me that are all blue-collar workers too, and they love the fact that I've said something and I'm getting this attention.
Yeah, that build-up from 08 to 16 that led a lot of Joe the plumbers to react the way that he did and start to confront the political ruling class.
Yeah, he did run for Congress in 2016. But he changed the way I shop for toilet paper. We interviewed him. I don't know if it was on this show or the place they used to work. And I said, well, what toilet paper do you recommend to use, because he's a plumber that doesn't stop up or clog the pipes. And he said Scott's. And I have never, ever bought anything but Scott's toilet paper since that interview with him.
His contributions to your life will
Thank you.
extend beyond.
Well, I'm just saying,
his
and then I
time
spread the
here.
word. He goes, spread
Yeah.
the word. If you don't want your pipes clogged up, buy Scott's toilet paper.
Jim Uriel, who's host of the Future's Edge podcast. He's the proprietor of Brandt's Restaurant in Palatine. Jim Uriel, what's your toilet paper brand?
I'm not sure. I don't. That's not my department in my house.
Yeah, very good.
It's always
Congratulations.
kind of there.
But the Joe the Plumber thing is interesting. I mean, remarking on his life and that moment that he had with Obama, because I mean, it's the same conversation a decade and a half later about working men and women and what they're able to keep and an increasingly rapacious federal government. I mean, Obamacare seems like sort of a piker's gambit compared to what we've done in the last 15 years.
No doubt about it. So every couple months, I post a 20-year chart of small business optimism in this country, and I mark it up exactly. And if you look at it, and if you believe in the survey, which is one of the surveys I do believe in, that there is absolutely no question that certain presidencies just absolutely stomped on small business optimism. And then when you look at Barack Obama, and of course I'm pointing him out the most, like the whole "you didn't build that" speech, that's about, you cannot take credit for any of this stuff. We are going to be the ones who are the overseers. And then our mutual friend Carol Roth's book, you look The War on Small Business, you see why. She lays it out perfectly. They don't like the small businessman because it's harder to shake down the small businessman. So that's one of the reasons they come down as hard as they do. When I think of the story of Joe the Plumber, and it was almost kind of comical how many times they said it and how many times they used him, and it became emblematic of the small businessman. And small businessman hurts under bad administrations like Barack Obama.
And how's the small businessman doing now?
Well, they're doing very poorly. I mean, the taxes have gone through the roof. Probably expenses at, let's call it a restaurant. I know a little bit about that business. Our expenses have probably gone up between 40 and 45% over the last two and a half years. Now,
yeah, well, you have to pass that on to the consumers.
Well, we have made a decision to pass some of it on to consumers. We've raised our prices probably about 20%. I think most other restaurants have raised that more. But you guys have been to my place. We have volume, and we don't want to mess that up. We want to win in the end by giving people a good price. And we're at a price point that's going to, I don't want this whole conversation to be about Brandt's and Palatine, but we are at the affordable luxury price point, and some of the nicer, higher-end restaurants may be suffering more than we are.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's a good microcosm of the larger dynamic going on. You're a restaurant that's otherwise successful, and what you need to do to maintain that success. It's not easy to thread the needle, particularly when you have the arbitrariness of the political class to deal with.
Arbitrary. I like that you threw that word in there because that's what I've been railing about for months and months. Depending on where you're starting the business in the arbitrary rate cycle, business cycle that the government lays out, it determines whether you're successful or not. That's ridiculous. It's just astonishing to me that we're okay with that as a country. It should be about who has the best business, not who was able to borrow money at 2% versus who has to borrow money at 8% and now can't do it. Just the whole thing is messed up.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that relates to this is the environment in particular states, and you have these sort of state-by-state comparisons and rankings. Smart Asset just did one. This is an interesting one because this is, about a state's future in large measure, where young professionals aged 26 to 35 who earn $200K or more have been moving. Guess who do you think the top net beneficiaries of 26 to 35-year-old 200,000 plus income earners? Guess which states are the top beneficiaries?
My guess would be Texas, Florida, oddly Colorado. Denver's doing pretty good too, but that doesn't fit into our model quite as much. But Nashville, Texas, Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida 1, Texas 2, Colorado 4, Tennessee 8, South Carolina 10, Arizona 9. And you have a couple of blue states in here, but it's like Wisconsin as to Illinois. When you move from, for example, New York to Connecticut, which is number 6 on the list, that's people fleeing New York for somewhere that's close to New York, just like people flee to Wisconsin. Not particularly a low tax state, but it's still better than Illinois.
No doubt. And think about it. Now let's go back to Brandt's Palatine real quick. And we're talking about the restrictive business environment in Illinois. Now, we have all that property. We have 2.5 acres of Branch Palatine, and we're only occupying less than half of that. We have everybody says, well, why don't you do this over here? Put up like a big tent. Weddings. No, if we develop any of that land, the taxes on it go through the roof. We have to be so darn sure that we can make money at whatever project we do. And now extend that's just our little restaurant. Now extend that over the entire state of Illinois. That businesses won't expand on land that they own because it's much more. But just the whole notion they tore down the racetrack just to avoid a $15 million a year tax bill because now they have to have taxes vacant land. So any chance that was going to go back to being a racetrack if the Bears thing all falls apart is completely gone. So the way they destroy business in this state is really frustrating. And the funniest part about it is they seem, based on the words they say, to want more tax money. And everything they do now, the wave has crested. They're getting less tax money because of their desire to pull in too much tax money, paradoxically.
I wanted to get your take on what Jay Powell had to say from Jackson Hole on Friday. The Oracle has spoken. Inflation's too high, not afraid to raise rates, and the market loves this. The market loves everything, especially if it's bad news. Your reaction?
Okay, first of all, I want to underscore one of the last quotes that he said, and I might get it not exactly right, but he said, "We are navigating by the stars alone on a cloudy night." So we paid 400 PhD economists, including Jay Powell, and he's saying, yeah, basically I have no idea what's going on, which, by the way, that's what we kind of assumed.
Right. And then the market reacts positively. There's our guy. I have no idea what I'm doing. Finally, some good news. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of head scratching. I think I've worn off some hair scratching my head. But the point is that he still talks tough about inflation, which is all well and good, but he hasn't been tested yet. Perhaps we're just in the eye of the storm. And as we are moving to a demand destruction, which is what he wanted, to destroy demand, i.e. a recession, and he hasn't been able to bring that about, but it seems like he's been able to tame inflation. Now, these next inflation numbers that come on the 13th, there's some boosts in the service sector. There's some high-profile union wage increases that might start to feed into it. There's base effects. So if we start to see inflation tick up again and he has to talk tougher about rates, here's what I think will happen eventually. I think he will talk too tough about rates for too long. The stock market will break about 10% in a couple days' time. And then all of a sudden his tune will change. Like, yeah, we won. Let's lower rates a little bit now. That's what I believe will happen.
And when is that going to happen? And I know if you knew that, then you'd be betting your house on it. But what?
Well,
I mean,
really wouldn't be telling you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You're not cutting anybody in on it. Yeah. So what's the?
Yeah,
but I mean,
what's
the horizon for you? You think where that
I think
that could be happening?
I think come the winter. I think come the late 2023. Next few months. I think the one thing that we wanted was to see all the efficacy of these rate hikes and come in so quickly. That's just not the way it works here. Our economy is an enormous. I heard one of my friends who's an economist once kind of compared it to maneuvering the Queen Mary versus maneuvering a motorboat, which is some of these small countries where you can turn them around in an instant. Well, the U.S. economy is the Queen Mary. It takes a long time to turn that around, and we're feeling that now.
Emphasis on Queen. Jim Urio, host of the Futures Edge podcast, proprietor of Brant's in Palatine. Jim, thanks as always.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. You can shed the fat, be slimmer for the rest of the summer into the fall. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet will help you the natural way. No shots, no hormones, no surgery. You'll lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat and not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number. Dr. T is Dr. Turovets, who is the founder of NJ Diet. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oak Brook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. So call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined a life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to ethoslife.com now for your free estimate. That's ethoslife.com. ethoslife.com.
All right, love it. Do it all the time. That's take balance of nature. Yes, even on the weekends, never take a day off because my body craves it. Not getting enough fruits and veggies on my own. I know you aren't either. So, it's nature's healthy fruit. It's fruits and vegetables. And when you give your body the best possible fuel, guess what? You have more energy. You're stronger. You can think more quickly. So order your bottles of fruits and veggies today. 31 whole fruits and vegetables in those bad boys. All natural, no dyes or preservatives, GMO, gluten-free. Be one of the cool kids. Get the maximum nutrition that your body needs. 800-246-8751. Don't you know that's the number? Again, that's 800-246-8751. Be sure to use discount code Chicago. 35% off and free shipping for first-timers. Or you can simply go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
Would you go to court without a lawyer when the other guy is lawyered up? Or are you going to go it alone and learn law and procedure as you go? When you have an insurance claim for your home or business, it's the same thing.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company.
Insurance companies will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them. Not you.
If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%, and we could do the same for you. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom. Building trust for over 20 years.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined a life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to ethoslife.com now for your free estimate. That's ethoslife.com. ethoslife.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Gordon Chang says on the urgent issue of China, there's only one candidate to vote for in the GOP primary. We'll find out who that is at 7:07.
Today it's going to be pleasant with sunshine, a high of 80 degrees. It is 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Italia will soon target Florida. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's a tropical storm now, but is forecast to grow into a major hurricane hitting Wednesday anywhere from Tampa to the Panhandle.
Storms, of course, as we know, these things can wobble, so Floridians along our Gulf Coast should be vigilant, even if you're currently outside the cone.
Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency for 33 counties.
As for residents who need to get personal resources together, the timing of Florida's second newly added disaster preparedness sales tax holiday is just in time. Floridians can buy certain items with no sales tax now going through September 8th. They can buy things like flashlights, batteries, portable radios, portable generators.
Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell in Miami. Governor DeSantis also went to Jacksonville for a vigil for the victims of a racially motivated mass shooting the day before.
We are going to stand up and we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that evil does not triumph in the state of Florida.
Though DeSantis, a Republican running for president, was booed by some at the vigil. The shooter, who had swastikas on his gun, killed 3 black people at a store, then killed himself as police arrived and left behind white supremacist writings. Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters called it the diary of a madman.
His sickening ideology is not representative of the values of this Jacksonville community that we all love so much.
8 U.S. Marines remain in a hospital in Australia after an Osprey aircraft crashed during military exercises that left 3 other Marines dead. There are 2 Trump-related court dates today. In Washington, a federal judge will consider the special counsel's proposed January 2nd trial date in the criminal case against the former president related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Trump lawyers want an April 2026 trial date. In Georgia, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, one of the 18 others charged with the former president in the 2020 election case there, has a federal court hearing. Meadows is trying to move his case out of state court. America's listening to Fox.
59 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A 20-year-old man was killed in a shooting during a robbery that happened in the parking lot of a gas station in the Calumet Heights neighborhood early this morning. The shooting took place at a Shell gas station along East 95th. Area 2 detectives say there is no one in custody. 3 are dead following separate motorcycle crashes in Kankakee County. Both crashes remain under investigation. An investigation continues after a teen was shot outside of an Aldi's supermarket in Cicero following a mob action by more than 200 teens at a nearby theater in Cicero. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the leg. Employees at the Chicago Reserve Roastery along Chicago's Magnificent Mile soundly rejecting union membership. Workers voting not to join that union in a vote Friday and Saturday. It's a major setback for Workers United of SEIU, which has been trying to sign up Starbucks workers across the country. Officials in Burr Ridge issued a warning over the weekend after a reported sighting of a coy wolf. It's a coyote-wolf hybrid. According to police, the potential sighting of the animal took place in the vicinity of 83rd and County Line Road. The coy wolf is typically around 55 pounds, heavier than an average coyote, with much longer legs. Cubs over the Pirates 10-1. Cubs locking down that second wild card spot in the NL for now. Jamison Taillon starts for the Cubs against the first-place Brew Crew tonight. White Sox beat Oakland 6-1. Bears turning their attention to the regular season after a preseason loss to the Bills at Soldier Field on Saturday, and they get ahead of that roster cut down to 53 tomorrow by releasing quarterback P.J. Walker and offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood. That means Tyson Bagent is your backup QB number 2 for now. The news a service of Tom Miraboli Insurance. No matter what time of year, you can purchase a PPO health insurance plan that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. Get started at healthplanchicago.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum sees work ahead for Trump.
MAGA people are going to vote for Trump no matter what. But for other people that's on the fence, in the middle, vacillating, in the general, is when you're going to see a huge effect. If Donald Trump is able to prove his innocence early on, or it appears that he's going to be innocent early on, I think that's going to be a tremendous boost for him.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay zero penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a very, very skeptical person, so I think even if it had started working sooner, I was like, no, it can't be just balance of nature. Till I finally gave in and said, you know what? I think it's the balance of nature. So somebody will say, oh, I noticed this, or you look really good today, or you know, such and such, and I go, I know, it's the balance of nature. I have fingernails that I've never had before. They're long and they're strong and they're wow.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Prager.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads now. Team Hochberg traffic center time. We'll start on the Edens, 21 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy Express Lane, stop and go inbound, Montrose to California. Eikins, it's an hour 14 from 390 into the old post office. Typical Monday heavies on the inbound Stevenson at 66 minutes, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Disabled vehicle on the Reagan I-88 eastbound right at York Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, pleasant day. High today at 80. For tonight, clear and a low 63. A partly sunny day tomorrow. Shower in spots, high 81. Sunny, breezy day on Wednesday, much cooler. The high on Wednesday afternoon, 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
62 at O'Hare, next news 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Xi Van Fleet is a survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution. She came to some prominence during the Virginia governor's race that Glenn Youngkin won because she was one of the women, one of the parents who spoke out. I believe she was in Loudoun County, spoke out against the stilted curriculum of those leftist educrats on the school board and in the administration in Loudoun and Fairfax counties, parents that sparked the revolt against Terry McAuliffe that installed Glenn Youngkin as the governor of Virginia. She was a part of that. And since telling her story about surviving Mao's Cultural Revolution, news outlets have gone back to her time and again to get her perspective on what's happening in this country, not just what's happening in China, what's happening in this country that resembles what she experienced at a young age in China. And here's what she had to say over the weekend in an interview with Rachel Campos Duffy on Fox about what she sees happening in the U.S. in comparison to what she experienced in China.
I think America is quickly becoming a communist country, and our rule of law has been turned into what Marxists called proletarian dictatorship. The party in power is after its political oppositions, and it's not just the president, but people like activists, and they are now in jail. They are political prisoners in the free country of United States.
Political prisoners. Yeah, that's something that smacks of communist, totalitarian communist regimes. She also had a message to those celebrating Trump's indictments.
Yeah, I have a word for them. Forget about Donald Trump. What's happening in America is that the party in power is abusing their power and going after any oppositions. Now it's Donald Trump. Now it's MAGA. But eventually it's everybody, because communist regime would not tolerate any opposition, any dissenting voices. So they're coming after all of us, including those who are cheering and now for Trump's indictment, and they think they are on the winning team. They're not. We are all will become victims if we let them succeed.
For more on this, please be joined by Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China and The Great U.S.-China Tech War. You can follow Gordon Chang on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. Gordon G. Chang is his Twitter handle. Gordon Chang, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Dan and Amy.
What do you think about what Xi Van Fleet had to say?
Well, she's certainly correct. I mean, we are seeing, for instance, the political correctness that has gone beyond just normal bounds. And it does resemble what had happened in the Cultural Revolution in China starting in 1966. And the prosecution and persecution of political enemies of the President of the United States is extremely concerning, because we do see this in communist China and in other totalitarian states.
And so we have our own PRC here, the People's Republic of China. We've got the political ruling class. Interesting how the acronyms work out. And with respect to the People's Republic of China, you gave a bit of a postmortem on the Republican presidential debate last week on this specific issue, and writing in Newsweek, there's only one candidate to vote for in the GOP primary if you're thinking about taking the threat that communist China poses most seriously. Who's that candidate and why?
Well, that candidate is the 45th President of the United States, Donald John Trump. And the reason is that Trump, during his 4 years, most significantly broke the engagement theory that had been prevailing in our country for 5 decades, and especially the 3 decades after the Cold War. It's not just America first. It is, we had a policy that put the communist China first over American workers and over American society. Now, Trump's record on China was not perfect by any means, but he moved the country in the correct direction. And candidates, others, and there are some good candidates on China. So, for instance, we heard Nikki Haley at the debate. But she and others are going to have to prove that, as a practical matter, they can have and move the country in the direction that Donald Trump did, and with the same ability, because this really was quite a demonstration of the use of the presidential power to protect American interests against a militant communist state.
What about Nikki Haley, though? I mean, she was strong on foreign policy and even said to Vivek, you want to hand Ukraine over to Russia and you want China to eat Taiwan.
Well, that was really important because there are a lot of voices in the Republican Party that are supporting Vladimir Putin's position in Ukraine. Here, we've got to remember that whatever the historical aspects of Ukraine are, that Russia violated a sovereign state. And a sovereign state that it had pledged to recognize its borders in the Budapest Memorandum of 1994. What Vivek Ramaswamy doesn't understand is that Ukraine is not just a battle between Ukrainians and Russians. The Chinese see it as a proxy war between themselves and the United States. And if we don't win, we will see China move against some victim in East Asia, whether it's Taiwan, Japan, the Philippines, or India. And so Vivek Ramaswamy, who thinks, we just give up on Ukraine, is basically condemning the world to global conflict.
Well, what is moving on a Japan or an India or Philippines or even Taiwan? What does that look like? Because, part of this is, as you understand, the threat is omnipresent, but it's a threat that's never been sort of made good on formally. Meanwhile, China is sort of insinuating itself all over the world through various ways. We've talked a lot on this show about the Confucius Institutes and buying up land. Obviously, you had the infamous spy balloon. So, I mean, you see the manifestations of it, but they've never taken that next step to invade Taiwan, for example. So, what is an incursion from communist China into Taiwan or one of those other countries you mentioned? What does that look like?
Well, we saw that in June of 2020, where Chinese forces moved below the line of actual control against India in the Himalayas. So that was an incursion, which would have become an invasion if the Indians didn't stop it. We have seen China actually seize Philippine and Vietnamese islands in the South China Sea. Right now, they're trying to take Second Thomas Shoal, and this is a flashpoint. The United States has warned China in writing that the United States is pledged to defend the Philippines, and that pledge involves the use of military force. So we had a warning of the use of force against China. Japan, they're trying to seize the Senkaku Islets in the East China Sea. So there's been Chinese aggression, and it has been small scale, but nonetheless, it's encouraged China to move even more belligerently because we have not stopped it. And that's to our shame, by the way. We have opened the door to more Chinese aggression in the South China and East China Seas.
Right. Well, how has President Biden allowed that aggression to continue?
He did that in Scarborough Shoal in 2012, where the U.S. and China brokered an agreement for both China and the Philippines to withdraw their craft from Scarborough, which is essentially part of the Philippines. The Philippines honored the agreement. China did not. They took Scarborough Shoal. The Obama administration decided not to uphold the agreement it brokered. So China then started reclaiming islands in the Spratlys. It moved against Second Thomas Shoal, and then it ramped up pressure on the Senkakus in the East China Sea. So basically, we told China that aggression works, and we legitimized the most belligerent elements in the Chinese political system. So we have an example of what happens when American policy, and this was Biden, by the way, during the Obama years. We have seen what happens when we have these weak policies.
And so your argument is that taking those islands, for example, for the purpose of controlling the shipping lanes, for the purposes of having more control over global commerce, is their way, sort of like how they produce, so many of our pharmaceutical drugs. So they the minerals in semiconductors and the production of solar panels and these sorts of things. This is all in advance of at some point flipping the switch and turning on the West.
Well, certainly. China's been very clear. They declared in May 2019 a quote-unquote people's war against the U.S. That is a phrase which has resonance, which contemplates the destruction of the United States. China's regime, which tightly controls discourse in China, permits and encourages Chinese people to talk about the extermination of every American. So let's understand what's going on. Our society is at risk. We can lose our country. The Chinese intend to kill us. They've said it. We've tried to ignore them, like we ignored Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden only killed, almost 3,000 people on one day. The Chinese intend to kill 330 million.
Really? You think that's their intention is eradication?
In the turn of the century, the Chinese defense minister gave a secret speech talking about advocating the extermination of every American with disease.
So, what's their play? I mean, they want to precipitate a confrontation, but obviously on their turf. So, is that play to formally invade Taiwan, and you think that's possible in the not too distant future?
Sure, and they intend to threaten the use of nuclear weapons. That balloon that flew over our country in January and February was surveying nuclear weapons sites in the United States. And also on January 28th of this year, the green laser shower over Hawaii caused by a Chinese satellite was surveying atmospheric conditions, which were important for the use of China's hypersonic glide weapons. So they're contemplating the use of their most destructive arsenal against America.
But I mean, not to minimize it, but they're incrementalists. I mean, it seems to me you're saying that at some point they're going to have, all of the pieces of the puzzle in place, and then they're going to launch something that sounds full scale the way you're describing it.
Yes, and they intend to threaten the use of their nukes to prevent the United States from defending Japan, Philippines, Taiwan, whatever. And we've seen this because Xi Jinping this year has purged the top officers of the Rocket Force, which controls most of China's nuclear weapons. And the only reason why he would do that is because he wants officers who will obey his commands when he gives the order to push the button. So we have to understand that nuclear deterrence is breaking down. And I know it's unthinkable, but on occasions, America's enemies, because we're oblivious, have struck us and have killed Americans. And China is so much more powerful than Osama bin Laden. So we have to understand what's at stake here. And we purposefully are trying not to do that. We have a political class that does not want to understand the dynamics of what's occurring in China.
You reacted to the influx of Chinese nationals across our southern border year over year. It's increased like eightfold. You suggested that wasn't people fleeing China for freedom. It was, at least in part, Chinese communist assets getting into this country so they can do damage from within. Is that a fair representation of your view?
Yeah, 99% of that unprecedented surge of Chinese migrants are people who are fleeing China. They have given up on their country. And these are not poor Chinese, by the way. These are middle-class Chinese who have given up on their country. But in that number, there are packs of Chinese males, packs between 5 and 15 of them, unattached to family groups, who pretend not to speak English, and some of them are known to have links to the Chinese military. And I believe they are saboteurs that on the first day of a war in Asia will attack America's grid. They'll poison our reservoirs, assassinate our officials, detonate bombs in shopping centers. Remember we found that lab near Fresno, which had 1,000 mice that had been genetically engineered to transmit disease. So let's understand that the risk is present, and it's certainly a danger.
Do you think the State Department, the Pentagon, has an appreciation for the nature of the threat?
No, they don't. They are preparing for war in the 2030s and 2040s, where if we get through the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to be okay for various reasons. But the threat of war is a now threat. It's not one later on. And they're taking planes and ships out of service to pay for new weapons that will not come on stream for 15 years. We are running low of munitions, and there is not a sense of that this is a problem at this time, not 15 or 20 years from now.
Why is the next 4 years the Overton window for the Chinese communists?
Because we're seeing right now is the failure of the Chinese economy, and Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, is being held directly responsible for it. So he has two choices. He can allow himself to be removed from power and the Communist Party to fail, or he can rally the Chinese people with a war. And I think that he is going to choose the latter. But in any event, I'm not in his mind, but that's obviously an option for him, so we have to be concerned. So this is a problem which we face at this moment, which is much more acute than the Pentagon or the White House believes.
He is Gordon Chang. He's the author of The Coming Collapse of China and The Great U.S.-China Tech War. You can follow Gordon Chang on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang, the other way. Gordon G. Chang on Twitter. Gordon Chang, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Dan and Amy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scan, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, when you're not eating anything, you're not getting any nutrition, it really took a toll on my health. Balance of Nature is upping my nutrition and just making me healthier. And my energy is good with it, so I like it.
At 64 years old, I know I eat terribly. So with the Balance of Nature, I do feel better because, you know, as you get older, you start to get a little slower, a little more tired. And at my age now, I'm bouncing around on ladders. The product is fantastic.
Go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-806-3141. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-806-3141. 800-806-3141. That's 800-806-3141.
If you're a business owner, imagine getting up to $26,000 per employee. There's still time for business owners to file for the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. This program is for business owners who continue to pay their W-2 employees during the COVID pandemic. Many businesses qualify and simply do not know it. All business types and industries may qualify. You can claim the credit even if you received a PPP loan. This is a cash payment and not a loan, and can be claimed now. The licensed CPAs and tax professionals at DH Tax and Consulting have been serving business owners across the country for over 15 years. The best part is that until you receive your cash payment, you don't pay us a dime. Our tax credit specialists are available now at 833-ERC-FILE, and your tax payment estimate is quick, easy, and free. That's 833-ERC-FILE to qualify you and your business for up to $26,000 per W-2 employee for free federal aid. Call us now at 833-ERC-FILE. That's 833-ERC-FILE.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Gordon Chang says China presents an existential threat to America, but we know from the Biden administration that it's your ceiling fan that does. So we'll start there with John Hinderaker at 7:37.
And later, you're not going to want to miss it. Smiling politely, we'll explain. But now, let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
59 degrees at 7:32. Judge overseeing former President Trump's federal election case is expected to set a trial date as soon as today. The president's legal team has requested to postpone that trial until 2026. Governor Ron DeSantis is urging Florida West Coast residents to get ready for Tropical Storm Idalia, expected to make landfall Tuesday as a Category 1 or 2 hurricane.
But these things can shift. There's still some uncertainty out there. So please just heed the warnings of your local officials. Continue to watch the news.
Florida's Gulf Coast and Big Bend areas could see 4 to 6 inches of rain. Jacksonville, Florida Sheriff T.K. Waters calling a gunman's racist manifesto the, quote, diary of a madman, end quote.
He was just completely irrational. What is irrational? What is irrational thoughts? He knew what he was doing. He was 100% lucid.
At a news conference Sunday, the sheriff identified the 21-year-old male who shot and killed 3 African Americans in what's being called a racially motivated shooting. The Pentagon investigating after a deadly weekend for U.S. Marines. During a training exercise in Australia Sunday, an Osprey aircraft with 23 on board crashed, killing 3, injuring several others. Missouri's ban on transgender health care for minors takes effect today. A St. Louis County Circuit judge recently denied a request for a preliminary injunction, meaning the ban could become law. The law keeps teens safe from risky hormone therapies, puberty blockers, and controversial transition surgeries. An Illinois judge is set to decide whether the father of the man accused of fatally shooting 7 at a suburban 4th of July parade will himself stand trial. Robert Cremo Jr. is charged with 7 counts of reckless conduct. Father's lawyer argued at an earlier hearing that Illinois prosecutors charged his client under an unconstitutionally vague law and want that case thrown out. Chicago sports found the Cubs over the Pirates 10-1. Cody Bellinger drove in 5. Mike Clevenger a gem as the White Sox beat Oakland 6-1. The Bears turned their attention to the regular season following a preseason loss in their final warm-up at Soldier Field on Saturday. Rosters need to be cut back to 53 tomorrow. The news service of the Pride stores with 17 locations throughout Chicagoland, including Taco Urbano or Urban Counter restaurants. Stop by their new location, the Pride of Kane County, in St. Charles, on the corner of Kirk and Main. The Pride stores, not your typical convenience store. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station. But now, there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online, on the app, TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Are you worried about investing in the stock market, especially with Joe Biden in office? Do you really trust the economy? What if you could invest in a secure, collateralized portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed? A portfolio where you'll know what each monthly statement will look like with no surprises. Your interest is compounded daily. You're repaid monthly, and there are no fees. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose. And get this, there's absolutely no loss of principal if you ever need your money back. Just go to investrefy.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refy.com, or call 888-YREFI, 888-YREFY24. You can earn a fixed rate of return or up to 10.25%. Just call 888-YREFY24 or go to investrefy.com and tell them Charlie Kirk sent you.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, when you're not eating anything, you're not getting any nutrition, it really took a toll on my health. Balance of Nature is upping my nutrition and just making me healthier, and my energy is good with it, so I like it.
At 64 years old, I know I eat terribly. So with the Balance of Nature, I do feel better because, you know, as you get older, you start to get a little slower, a little more tired. And at my age now, I'm bouncing around on ladders. The product is fantastic.
Go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Angie makes it easier than ever to connect with skilled pros to get your home projects done well, from repair to remodel. Get started on the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
7:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound Edens, 27 minutes. Lake Cook Road to the junction. It is an hour and 27 from the O'Hare merge on all the way into the Burn Circle interchange on the inbound Kennedy. Outbound Kennedy, 36 back out to the big airport. I-10 82 right now with an accident blocking a center lane inbound on 290 between York and St. Charles. Stevenson inbound an hour 10 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive in the Dan Ryan, 40 minutes. 95th into the Burn Circle interchange. Accident, 5-car crash inbound on I-57 between 115th and the Ryan Merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. It is a pleasant day today. Sunshine and a high near 80. Now 62 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know what's interesting is that the reactions to Trump's mugshot and arraignment in Fulton County, Georgia, those that have gone viral are mainly from Black Americans.
Oh, yeah. They are embracing him.
Interesting. Wouldn't that be interesting if he was the nominee and he defeated Joe Biden with the support of Black Americans after, Mr. They're going to put you all back in chains, Joe Biden.
Yeah, and that year, remember, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black.
Yeah, that would be poetic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Here's a couple examples of what we're talking about. First, this gentleman wearing a T-shirt that read N-word for Trump on his reaction to Fawny Willis. This is pretty good.
I'm here to support President Trump. You want to know why I'm here to support President Trump? Because they done did black men like this for decades. Make up charges and put them, so I know Trump is innocent. I support Trump against this corrupt, two-tiered justice system. That's why I'm here to show my support as a black man for Trump. And I'm wearing my shirt for Trump 2024, and I mean that.
What do you think about the indictment?
Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's going around the country. Fannie Willis, she went to school with my sister. She full of shit. She was full of shit. So she's a puppet for the white liberal that is controlling everything. She's in front, but the white liberal back there pulling those strings, telling her what to do. That's what I think about her, making a fool of herself.
Do you think it's going to help his election?
Of course it is. It's going to elevate him all the way. I think we should make Trump king. That's how I feel. We should make him king.
Wouldn't that be kind of like communistic?
No, that's nowhere near communist. Now, we're just going to make him king, but we still got our freedoms and rights and everything. He for that. Yeah, Trump for king 2024.
I mean, I'm telling you, this mugshot is backfiring on the left in several ways. Not only has Trump been able to raise $7.2 million and counting by selling, trinkets with the mugshot picture on it, but the black community, as you mentioned, they are coming together. I mean, Chief Keef tweeting out, "This is our president." You have the backs of the blacks. The blacks have your back. And then this guy, the more you indict, the more we unite.
When are you guys going to learn? The more you indict, the more we unite. Facts. It's Trump 2024. We don't care. You heard me? We already made our mind up. You already know when the hood got your back. Man, they deep in the hood. Gangsters. Holler about Trump 2024. You heard me? Whoop, whoop. Wah. Gangsters. The hood got this man back. I'm just trying to tell you. You heard me? And we ain't stupid, man, American people, man. We ain't all them talking about lockdowns and back wearing the mask and all that. They got a new virus coming and it's gonna be, man, nobody don't care. Ain't fooling nobody no more with none of that. New jab, man, nobody being fooled no more. We all the way up, you heard me? It's Trump 2024. That's what it's gonna be, because we ain't having nothing else.
Shamika Michelle is admittedly a contributor for The Blaze, so she's a conservative black woman. She was featured at a poetry slam for Trump. It's not Robert Browning, but I like it raw. It's pretty good.
he's racist and tweets like a kid while overlooking all the good shit that he did. I ain't ashamed of my president a little bit. I'd rather have an alpha male than a little bitch.
The crowd seemed to like this. I'd rather have an alpha man than a little bitch. There's a T-shirt, a mug.
Hashtag at least.
For more on all this, please be joined by John Hindraker, president of the Center of the American Experiment, contributor to Powerline, powerlineblog.com. John, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, Dad, I'm not sure how I follow that poem.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's okay.
We're going to expect you to rhyme with all your answers. So, I know that you're a DeSantis fan, as am I. But, I mean, at this point, even after the first debate, and DeSantis seemed to do okay and is raising some money off it, so did Ramaswamy and some of the others, too. And at this point, it just seems to me it's almost out of the hands of the other 8 candidates, and it really any potential competitive race is really contingent on sort of the unpredictable vagaries of all of the law enforcement actions Trump is facing.
Well, there's no question that the indictments and the responses to the indictments have dominated the news. Frankly, I think that's how the Democrats like it. I think the Democrats want the news to be all Trump all the time so that the other candidates don't get much attention. Trump, sucks up all the oxygen. I honestly, I think that's part of the rationale, part of the plan underlying these various indictments. The thing I keep saying, Dan, is that I can tell you the score right now in the Republican primary race. It's 0-0-0-0-0. No candidate has a delegate. No candidate has even gotten a vote. And there's always a lot of hype and very volatile polling and so on before the race actually gets started, and during the early primaries as well. And so I keep saying, let's just hold on. Let's let the voters turn out in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, and let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, of course, for that we're going to let that happen. But I mean, it just you talk about it, you handicap it, and you try to identify paths, and you try to make assessments of the campaigns that people are running, particularly DeSantis and Ramaswamy, for that matter, because they sort of have been going in different directions. And you say, well, are we going to have a competitive race? Because people are going to be looking at this and reading it and hearing pundits talk about it and making their own assessments, too, whether things are going to be competitive. And look, I'm always a proponent of primaries are for voting for who you think should be the nominee, not who you think will be. But I mean, still, the reality is that people are assessing the nature of the race here, and also the call by Trump and others to basically say, look, at this point, it is so important to nominate Trump and to elect Trump because it's bigger than America First policies. Now it is to send a message to this corrupt justice system, this two-tier justice system, as you heard the gentleman say. And the only way to do that is to nominate Trump and to elect Trump.
Well, that sentiment is out there, Dan. There's no question there are some Republicans who feel that way. Whether they constitute a majority of the Republican primary electorate, I guess we're going to find out down the road, but we don't know the answer to that question yet. I'm old enough, Dan, that I can remember when Ed Muskie had the Democratic presidential nomination all but sewn up, and just a few years ago it was Howard Dean who was running away with the Democratic presidential nomination, and it took just one not great moment following one of the primaries, and he disappeared, So this is a very volatile situation, I think. It has been historically. I think it will be again in 2024.
Well, do you think it hurt Trump to not show up at the debate?
I think it did. There's a process that culminates in the selection of the nominee, and the debates are part of that process. I think it did hurt him that there's 8 people on the stage. The process is now underway. The ship is starting to leave the dock, and Donald Trump wasn't on board. I think at some point here, Trump is going to realize that he's got to participate in some of the future debates.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, but I think that one is into the ether, and frankly, I just don't think this is as volatile as the Hillary had a 40-point lead and Barack Obama and Howard Dean. I mean, you're talking about an incumbent president. You're talking about a following that is unlike any other candidate with this type of lead. You're talking about a dynamic with respect to these indictments that is obviously unlike anything we've ever seen. So, I mean, I think it's hard to look at historical comparisons. But
well, Dan, I certainly agree. We are in uncharted waters in several ways. I mean, I agree. Historical analogies are of limited value.
With respect to Ramaswamy, since he popped, he's been popping, and he popped a little bit more after the debate, even though he certainly got mixed reviews. I mean, what do you think about a candidate like him, who's trying to be sort of next generation Trump? Is he the Howard? I mean, is he the Ben Carson or the Herman Cain of this cycle? Do you think, or does he have potentially real staying power?
Well, I think he may have real staying power. He's trying to carve out a niche which has potential. I didn't like his debate performance. He was so hopped up that there were a couple of times when I was seriously starting to wonder whether he was on drugs. I mean, seriously,
That's called youth.
Such an over-the-top performance. I think he needs to scale it back some. I have liked Ramaswamy historically. I think voters are ready to take a look at a younger candidate, but I would say based on that first debate performance, he didn't look to me like he's ready to go the distance.
I think I did like what Lance Morrow wrote about him in the Wall Street Journal, that he's got to cut down those sideburns, or those the sideburns.
Yeah,
it makes him look like a riverboat gambler. He's like, it's just those sideburns are too pronounced, but that's a little bit more of an aesthetic.
Well, how do you think Nikki Haley did? She was strong on
she did
foreign
very,
policy.
very well. Very, very well. She clearly helped herself. And, she has not been – she was on the speaking circuit there for a while, but she hasn't been heard from a lot lately in public. And her performance was a good reminder of why we all liked her so much at the United Nations. She did very well.
We're just speaking with Gordon Chang at the top of the hour, and he's talking about the threat that the Chinese communists pose to America. But obviously, the bigger threat here are our household appliances, because that's where the Biden administration is focused. And now they've added ceiling fans to the list. A rule in terms of the energy efficiency of ceiling fans that would is projected to put 10 to 30% of small business ceiling fan manufacturers out of business. And Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm saying, it appears the Department of Energy, her agency, may not have properly considered small entities during this rulemaking process. The assault on your household appliances to save the planet, John, how big an issue is that?
Well, I think it's potentially a huge issue. I mean, most people don't pay good enough attention to the news to understand that they're trying to ban gas stoves and ceiling fans. We had legislation proposed here in Minnesota to ban gasoline-powered leaf blowers and lawn mowers and other Zambonis. I mean, there was a statute on Zambonis.
Finally.
And of course, the big one is they're trying to force us out of our cars and force us either to buy expensive and unreliable electric vehicles or else ride the bus. And I think as people are squeezed more and more by rising prices, and as they start to understand that the left is trying to really remake the way in which we live, people are not going to like it.
John Hendrick, president of the Center of the American Experiment, contributor to Powerline, powerlineblog.com. John, thank you as always.
Great to be with you, Dan.
Thank you, too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
And Doug. With Liberty Mutual, you can customize your car insurance to save hundreds. Here's what those savings sound like in dollar bills. Here's what it sounds like in quarters. And here's what that sounds like in cryptocurrency, a thing I totally understand. 1010. I am money. Cha-ching. Beep boop $.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty.
Did you know that St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard is the only school in the entire state of Illinois offering the renowned Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum? If you're a parent in Lombard, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, Downers Grove, or the surrounding areas, and you're searching for an exceptional educational experience for your child, then look no further than St. John's Lutheran K-8 School, where academic excellence meets strong Christian values. St. John's partnership with Hillsdale ensures your child receives a rigorous K-8 academic experience. In other words, actually earns an education. What sets St. John's apart is they recognize the concerns many parents have about the radical woke agenda infiltrating public schools. That's why they're dedicated to providing a nurturing environment that promotes the Christian faith, traditional values, and critical thinking. The Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum, combined with their focus on Christian faith and character development, is a game changer for your kids' education. Learn more at stjohnslombard.com. That's the letters ST, johnslombard.com. Give your child or grandchild the gift of a faith-based Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum-based education. Again, that website, stjohnslombard.com, stjohnslombard.com.
Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, when you're not eating anything, you're not getting any nutrition. It really took a toll on my health. Balance of Nature is upping my nutrition and just making me healthier. And my energy is good with it, so I like it.
At 64 years old, I know I eat terribly. So with the Balance of Nature, I do feel better because, you know, as you get older, you start to get a little slower, a little more tired. And at my age now, I'm bouncing around on ladders. The product is fantastic.
Go to balanceofnature.com. And for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
TV news. It's a love-hate relationship. Well, let's be honest. More hate. We agree. That's why we're different. Salem News Channel has assembled the greatest collection of conservative minds all in one place. Home to Charlie Kirk, Hugh Hewitt, Eric Metaxas, and more. There's finally a place on TV for lovers of freedom like you. Watch anytime, on any screen, free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman.
Plan ahead for the dangerous situation so that they don't affect you and you can weather the storm and just sail right over it.
Call Steve for your own free consultation today at 833-945-7283, 833-945-7283, and be sure to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dennis Prager here. Join us in Israel this fall. Soon, time will run out, and then you'll regret you didn't go, I promise. Mike Gallagher and I are headed back to Israel in October with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to stand with Israel. That's the name of the tour. We'll be visiting amazing places in the Holy Land designed to encourage and captivate you at every turn. Visit standwithisraeltour.com and sign up today. In Israel, we'll explore some of the most fascinating sites from religious and political history. We'll walk on the streets of Jerusalem, sail the Sea of Galilee, float in the Dead Sea. In fact, you could even sit in the Dead Sea with all its healing and rejuvenating effects, and visit the Western Wall, a spiritual experience you will always remember deeply, fondly. Our expert guides will help explain the significance of every site, and our food and accommodations are specifically designed with you in mind. No other trip will be like the Stand with Israel tour. Sign up today to travel with Mike Gallagher and me this October. Call 855-565-5519 or just visit standwithisraeltour.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, some breaking news. A TV news crew was robbed at gunpoint while covering armed robberies. 30 armed robberies in 12 hours.
The irony is delicious. We'll also check in on how John Canzara's relationship with BLM Brandon is proceeding. FOP President John Canzara joins us at 8:08.
And you're not going to want to miss it. Our producer, Quinn McCarthy, sings Vanilla Ice. We'll explain. Plenty of sunshine today. Beautiful. A high of 80 degrees. It's 8 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
He once again calls for the case to be dismissed. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and former President Trump wrote it in all caps on Truth Social, again saying he was indicted for nothing over his attempts to overturn the 2020 results. The 2024 Republican frontrunner again calling it all election interference as his lawyers get ready to spar in court over the trial date.
Special counsel Jack Smith is arguing for a speedy trial to begin in January. Attorneys for the former president say they need time to prepare and have argued to start in April of 2026. Judge Tanya Chutkin hears arguments from both sides today and could set at least a tentative date.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. The former president faces 3 other criminal trials. And also today in federal court in Georgia, ex-Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, one of the 18 others indicted with the former president over attempts to overturn election results there. He's trying to move his case out of state court. They held a vigil last night in Jacksonville, Florida, the day after a white man targeted and killed 3 black people inside a store and chased others until he killed himself when police arrived. Leaving behind white supremacist writings, Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters calls it
the diary of a madman. He was just completely irrational. But with his irrational thoughts, he knew what he was doing.
Idalia is on track to hit Florida. It's a tropical storm now, but forecast to grow into a major hurricane.
Plan on this making landfall there sometime on Wednesday morning. Hurricane watches are in place from Sarasota up around the Big Bend over to Apalachicola. The big concerns with this are going to be storm surge partially.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has already declared a state of emergency in 33 Florida counties. We'll get an update from him any minute. Franklin is the first major hurricane in the Atlantic this season, but it's forecast to turn right, away from the U.S., not hitting us. America's listening to
62 degrees, sunshine at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An Illinois judge is set to decide whether the father of the man accused of fatally shooting 7 at a suburban 4th of July parade will stand trial himself. Robert Cremo Jr. is charged with 7 counts of reckless conduct. Now, the father's lawyer argued at an earlier hearing that Illinois prosecutors charged his client under an unconstitutionally vague law and want that case thrown out. 3 are dead following separate motorcycle crashes in Kankakee County. Both crashes remain under investigation. An investigation continues after a teen was shot outside of an Aldi supermarket in Cicero. It came after a mob of more than 200 teens gathered outside of a theater last night. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the leg. His condition has not been released. 2 fans were injured in a shooting at Friday's Chicago White Sox game against the A's. White Sox say this morning they were not aware at first that a woman was injured during Friday's game. Authorities are still investigating where the shots were fired from. 3 were found shot inside of a car Sunday morning in Little Village. A 22-year-old man, a 34-year-old man, and a 20-year-old woman were shot, all taken to Stroger Hospital in good condition. Chicago sports. Cubs over the Pirates 10-1. Cody Bellinger with 5 RBI. Cubs take on the first-place Brewers tonight. Well, the White Sox beat Oakland 6-1. Victor Hovland, your champion at the FedEx, and claims the FedEx Cup after winning the Tour Championship at Eastlake in Atlanta. The news, a service of the Pride Stores, with 17 locations throughout Chicagoland, including Taco Urbano or Urban Counter restaurants. Stop by their newest location, the Pride of Kane County in St. Charles on the corner of Kirk and Main. The Pride Stores, not your typical convenience store. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
You could own a piece of Instacart. The grocery delivery business has filed to take the company public. It's expected to launch its stock next month on the NASDAQ under the symbol CART. In its government filing, it revealed that PepsiCo purchased a stake in the business. Stocks in China moved higher after the government there cut a tax on trading to boost markets. But China's property developer Evergrande Group lost more than 3/4 of its market value today. The stock resumed trading after Evergrande revealed a plan to restructure its debt. Rite Aid shares are losing more ground. The Wall Street Journal says Rite Aid is preparing to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization because of opioid lawsuits. The drugstore chain is accused of filling the prescriptions for overprescribed opioids. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Hi, folks. Sebastian Gorka here. Are you worried about investing in the stock market, especially with Joe Biden in office? Do you really trust this economy? What if you could invest in a secure, collateralized portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed? A portfolio where you'll know what each monthly statement will look like with no surprises. Your interest is compounded daily. You're paid monthly, and there are no fees. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose. And get this, there is absolutely no loss of principal if you ever need your money back. Just go to Invest Y Refi. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi.com, or call 888-YREFI24. You can earn a fixed rate of return of up to 10.25%. Just call 888-Y Refi 24 or go to investYRefi.com and tell them Dr. G sent you.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay zero penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
It is 8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. We start on the Edens Expressway, where it's a full half hour from Lake Cook Road into the junction. Outbound side of the Edens, accident left shoulder between Montrose and Church. 90 minutes on the inbound Kennedy ride from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, even heavier, 97 minutes right now, 390 into the old post office. Watch out for an accident on the left shoulder near Racine. Stevenson, accident left shoulder inbound between Harlem and Pulaski. And the Dan Ryan right now, 39, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. I-57 5-car crash inbound between 127th and the Dan Ryan. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, pleasant day. High today at 80. For tonight, clear and a low 63. A partly sunny day tomorrow. Shower in spots, high 81. Sunny, breezy day on Wednesday, much cooler. The high on Wednesday afternoon, 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
65 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois. Online at papanicholas.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't know if I'll ever come back. Was bullet casing night at the G-Spot on Friday. 2 women shot in the stands, as you know. Here's an eyewitness named Tom Miller. Here's what he saw. Tom Miller, excuse me. Here's what he saw.
It happened just 2 rows in front of me, and there was no one right in front of us. All of a sudden, this lady just started bleeding from her leg, and there was at least 2 of them in a row that got hit, maybe a third. I know 2 for sure, and it was bleeding, and all of a sudden security was there, and they kicked us out.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody got a nice souvenir that night. If you didn't get a foul ball, maybe at least get
a shell casing.
Yeah, and we read the text of a woman who said she was the one who was hit by the bullet but uninjured after it had hit 2 other people, the magic bullet, and she was holding it out in her hand in a text that she sent to a friend.
A 42-year-old woman was shot in the leg, taken to University of Chicago, non-life-threatening injuries, and a 26-year-old woman suffered a graze wound to the abdomen, but she refused medical treatment.
And we'll ask John Canzara what he knows about that, because there's a theory being bandied about. I want to get his reaction too. But something else. Number 17. This is the CWB Chicago series. Prosecutors say a man on bail for illegally possessing a machine gun shot 5 people and accidentally shot one of his accomplices during a drive-by on Chicago's West Side last month. This individual is the 17th person accused of shooting, killing, or trying to shoot or kill someone in Chicago while awaiting trial for a felony. The cases involve at least 28 victims, 9 of whom who died. And we've had dozens and dozens of cases like this over the last years. You restart the count every year, at least CWB Chicago does, in this series upon which they report illegally possessing a machine gun and then shot 5 people and one of his accomplices.
I mean, what did they think was going to happen?
So here again, these are the same people, number one, who are always running around talking about getting tough on gun crime. Number 2, are cheering Harrison Floyd being held without bond in Fulton County because of these dubious RICO charges, who, by the way, is Chicagoan. It's just astounding. A machine gun, he shoots 5, he's bonded out, and he shoots 5 people. And, of course, we know that come next month, you won't even have to worry about the question of bond because of the Safety Act.
Because bond's going to go away.
I want to start there with John Canzara. He's the president of the Chicago FOP. John, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Morning, Dan and Amy.
So with respect to the state's attorney, let's start with that end of the justice system. The Cook County Democrat Socialists, per Tony Preckwinkle, recently basically slated Clayton Harris to replace Kim Foxx in next year's election. Now, he's being challenged in the Dem primary by a judge named Eileen O'Neill Burke. I think she's Irish. But Clayton Harris, is this going to be, I mean, I assume with Preckwinkle's stamp of approval, is this going to be an extension of Kim Foxx in the state's attorney's office?
Well, our research shows that he might be slightly better for what that's worth, but I wouldn't say count the Irish lady out yet. Or who knows who else pops up. You know, we got a long way to go. We certainly are going to take that race as seriously as the teachers did the mayor's race. I think it's even, in many respects, much more important.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
Is there a candidate right now that you are hoping for?
Well, we're going to see who garnered signatures as of yet, but no.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, as you well know, if Clayton Harris has the backing of the party, then that means the public sector unions will be out in force for him and so on and so forth. So he's obviously got an inside track in that primary, and thus the general.
To a degree, but I think even the trade unions understand that safety has a direct correlation to tax dollars, which translates to their contracts and their projects. So I think we may see a little easing of that blind following, so to speak, and whatever gets rubber stamped.
Well, the trade unions are with Vallis too, to no great effect. I mean, that's the problem. It's SEIU, AFSCME, and the teachers that matter.
For now.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with BLM Brandon? He just passed 100 days. How are you guys getting on?
Oh, we have dinner every other Wednesday.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. All right.
Table for two.
Did you guys go Dutch, or do you just alternate who pays, or?
We go on a payment plan.
Yeah. So what? I mean, I know that there was a point of contention because they gave CTU, well, the mayor, who is CTU, let them have 12 weeks of paternity leave for the mom and the dad, and you guys are still fighting for that.
Yeah, I think we're going to be coming out the other end of the tunnel on that one, unfortunately, because other bargaining units have already kind of succumbed to Lightfoot's pressure. It put us in kind of a pickle with the arbitrator, and comparables are pretty frequently the deciding factor. And the fact that the PVPA accepted the use of medical time towards that leave really put us in a bad spot. So,
what else are you guys? You know, with Amendment 1 passing last year, are you guys going to push for a lifting of the residency requirement? Are you going to push for a right to strike?
Well, I don't think the right to strike would ever be a reality. And I'd say the majority of our membership understand why. It certainly would be a leverage tool. And even the arbitrator highlighted the fact that this process has gone on so long, and if we did have the ability to strike, this contract would have been finished long ago, but for the fact that the city can drag its feet as much as it wants.
Right.
The residency thing, we've pitched this for several years now about letting at least the 20-year officers who could walk away tomorrow lift the residency on them. Let them go start the next phase of their life while they stay in this job a little bit longer, because we need to keep officers in the seats as long as possible. It's met with increasing skepticism and resistance, but it's a pretty simple concept to understand. Unfortunately, it's the city.
Well, but outside of the negotiating table, I mean, it seems to me that one of the things that Brandon Johnson has done so far that's smart, perhaps the only thing, is that he's really not been running around like a celebutant the way that Triple Threat was out of the gate. So a little bit lower profile. And I wonder if maybe when the cameras are not turned on or he's not in front of the CTU apparatchiks, he's a little bit more rational and you can have reasonable conversations with him. I mean, I really do want to know like what your relationship is, if there is one at this point.
No, it's just through his, obviously, mouthpieces for the most part. But my fear has always been they're going to play nice until the convention's here because they don't want an embarrassment before that happens. And then once the convention's gone, I think then we'll really get to see what the real Brandon Johnson policies look like.
Yeah.
Let's hope by then the reality of a new superintendent who will call balls and strikes and kind of explain to them the reality on the street doesn't really meet the rhetoric a lot of the times.
And you're happy with his choice, right, for Larry Snelling?
Oh, absolutely. We were pushing for it to be an insider. I think it really had to be at this point, and he's got a great reputation. Nobody's ever perfect. There's certainly going to be some people who think that a twice merit person shouldn't be the superintendent, but my point has been, look at what he's done with those 2 merit promotions. He has been a poster child in many respects of use of force. He looks like a cop. He stands up for officers, and especially since at least I've been a president, the tragic shootings that our officers have been in, of all the exempt ranks, Larry's been the guy who tries to gather the troops outside the hospital, talk to them, calm them down, and let them know that we're all here for each other. Nobody else has done that. To the level Larry has done that. So big kudos for that.
Okay. Murders are slightly down year over year, which isn't saying much, but a lot of other violent crimes, carjackings, armed robberies are up. I read that the Chicago police busted one of these professional robbery rings, theft rings, but there are a couple others that are still out there. Can you give us any sort of perspective on these, organized criminal theft rings?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was just having a conversation with a ranking Democrat in this state, and I won't say a name, but the ironic part was they were talking about the statute for raising the penalties on these criminal enterprises, and the pushback they got was, yes, but that'll send more black people to jail, won't it?
Oh my gosh.
And the response was, yes, but they're criminals. So that's the ever-increasing mindset of who cares what they did. This is all about optics, percentages, and equality, apparently, in the prison population, no matter what the offense. It's just bizarre, but that's where we're at.
Well, just this morning, a TV news crew, I heard it was CBS, they were robbed at gunpoint, listen to this, while reporting on the latest wave of armed robberies. They were reporting on 30 robberies in 12 hours in the Bucktown Wicker Park. They were parked on 1200 North Milwaukee, and 2 black men, masked, went up and stole, I heard, their camera and then their personal belongings. Have they any any arrests made in that?
Not that I'm aware of. It was a pretty busy weekend for that, especially up in the north side of the city.
Yeah.
These crews, I'm sure the detectives have some pretty solid leads. There's certainly enough description and vehicle information that I'm sure that they're certain they have a pretty good idea who they're looking for.
Well, a friend of mine got robbed at gunpoint on Sunday afternoon at 3 in the afternoon. Apparently, I think they followed her home from the bank. That's what I think, because she had just taken money out. And you know what they told her, John? They pointed a gun to her head and they said, "Don't cry." And then she almost started crying, like, "Don't cry. We told you not to cry. Just give us the money." And then she did, and then they left.
I mean, they really think this is a game of Grand Theft Auto, where literally there are no victims, apparently, and there's no really consequences for their behavior. But that's why the state's attorney's race is so important, and the judges' retention issues, too, because we're going to concentrate on both of those big time next November.
Yeah, Southside, too. 5 armed robberies within 11 minutes in Hyde Park and Kenwood. University of Chicago, they send an alert out to its campus community. Yeah, right. Personnel is policy, folks. The White Sox, the shooting at the G-spot there at the White Sox. So this theory it's not mine. It's being bandied about that one of the women smuggled a gun into the stadium in one of her fat folds, which is how it went undetected, and then either she got into an argument or it dropped and it went off, shot her in the leg, and somebody else in the got grazed, and then so forth. I mean, we know now that, I mean, at least it's been reported that because their shell casings are recovered, that it came from within the stadium, and there's no other real operative theory that I've heard. Have you heard anything like that? Is that just crazy enough to be possible?
At this point in history, it's hold my beer, so nothing's possible.
All right, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
That's just a theory that Dan's friend
it's going around. This is not from me. This is from CPD actually.
I mean, the reality is we found weapons inside people's anal cavities. So I mean, there's crazy places they hide stuff all the time.
Well,
why you would need to hide it to that level to go to a baseball game is beyond me.
Maybe they left their concealed carry permit at home. Yeah.
Well, they have metal detectors there, and they didn't detect it, or maybe somebody was just asleep at the wheel.
All right, John. More good times, big city living stuff. John Canzar Jr., president of the Chicago FOP. Thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Have a good morning. Thanks.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
All right, doing it in about 5 minutes, taking Balance of Nature. Why not getting enough fruits and veggies on my own? 31 whole fruits and vegetables. I take 6 capsules a day, 3 fruit, 3 veggies, and voila, you will feel the difference. Some people notice it right away. Others, it takes about a week, but you will definitely get your health back and give your body the best possible fuel so that you'll have more energy and you'll be stronger. 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751, or online at balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
If you're a business owner, imagine getting up to $26,000 per employee. There's still time for business owners to file for the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. This program is for business owners who continue to pay their W-2 employees during the COVID pandemic. Many businesses qualify and simply do not know it. All business types and industries may qualify. You can claim the credit even if you received a PPP loan. This is a cash payment and not a loan, and can be claimed now. The licensed CPAs and tax professionals at DH Tax and Consulting have been serving business owners across the country for over 15 years. The best part is that until you receive your cash payment, you don't pay us a dime. Our tax credit specialists are available now at 833-ERC-FILE, and your tax payment estimate is quick, easy, and free. That's 833-ERC-FILE to qualify you and your business for up to $26,000 per W-2 employee for free federal aid. Call us now at 833-ERC-FILE. That's 833-ERC-FILE.
The roof was completely gone. All of our memories being wiped away.
The rain is what got
20 minutes of sheer terror.
And you can feel it in your body.
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
The rumbling of the house.
My son started screaming, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. In the name of Jesus, we are not gonna die.
At Samaritan's Purse, we bring spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world. We go into dangerous situations because in disaster, in disease, in war, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor, to heal the sick, feed the hungry, restore the broken. All who work and volunteer with Samaritan's Purse follow the example of Jesus. We go to serve, not to be served. And we go in Jesus' name. Join us at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, because of the shooting at the G-Spot on Friday, the concert by Robert Van Winkle was canceled.
Yeah, Vanilla Ice, and he had a quick message for Sox fans because he was bummed. He really wanted to perform.
On to what happened last night here in Chicago. We were scheduled to perform at the White Sox game, and at the end of the game there was a shooter. Nobody died, but
well, that's nice.
You know, some nut job kind of ruined the night for everybody. And I just want to say, you know, to the city of Chicago, to the state of Illinois, to all of the organization of all baseball in general, just they didn't deserve this. And the White Sox.
They didn't deserve it, man.
Powerful words. All right, so the White Sox fans asked for so little. We thought being deprived of Bobby Van Winkle's music stylings wasn't fair. So Quinn McCarthy, turns out, used to be the front man for a band called Smiling Politely. So we're going to fill the void left by Robert Van Winkle. The Lagoo Boys were unavailable.
Well, no, because Smiling Politely, they were a cover band for Vanilla Ice.
So Quinn McCarthy making his AM 560 debut right now.
I'm nervous for him. All right.
Take it away.
Tell me what you ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it.
All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flowing like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow to the extreme. I rock the mic like a vandal. Light up the stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance. Do I do like a poisonous mushroom? Deadly. When I play a dope medley, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gangway. You better hit the bullseye, the kid don't play. And if there's a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
Ice, ice, baby. Oh my gosh. Do you sing Ice, Ice?
No, I didn't do that.
Who did? Ice. Okay, it's going to get better, right? Sell it.
Now that the party is jumping, with the bass kicked in and the Vegas are pumping, quick to the point, no faking. I'm cooking them C's like a pound of bacon. Burn them, you ain't nimble. I go crazy when I hear the cymbal and a hi-hat with a souped-up tempo. And I'm roll, it's time to go solo, rolling in my 5.0 with my rag top down so my hair can blow. Girlies on standby, waving just to say hi. Did you stop? No, I just drove by, kept on, pursuing to the next stop. I bust to the left and I'm heading to the next block. The block was dead, yo, so I continue to A1A, Beachfront Avenue.
Maybe he can sing that at Justin's wedding.
I would have.
Where's the applause?
I would have preferred to be shot in the leg than hear that. Actually,
too soon.
I mean, honestly, you sang for you. What kind of song? You sang Vanilla Ice for Smiling Politely.
That was our big closer.
Oh, your closer?
Yeah. We did.
Where did you perform?
There was a battle of the bands, and then we finished in second, and we closed with Ice Ice Baby, and then we got booked for like 2 or 3 graduation parties.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Must have been a dearth of musical talent at St.
Well,
Ignatius
I don't sing anymore. I like that.
No, thank God. Yeah.
Well, Smiling Politely, they did get the idea from Simpsons.
Yeah.
Episode.
Billy
That's where they
Corgan,
got the
Smashing
name.
Pumpkins.
Homie Simpson.
Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins.
Homie Simpson, Smiling Politely.
Wow. I mean,
All right. Please, enough. We have to go to the news. I can't take any more.
All right, Mike, Scott. What did you think, Mike?
That's a 7 out of 10.
Oh, you're so generous.
I
Coming
am.
from a man with broken ribs.
Since '98 was the last time I really put that on.
I think he did just fine. I think he should go on America's Got Talent or something. Give it a rip. We're watching developments this morning judicially as the judge overseeing former President Trump's federal election case is expected to set a trial date. It is something we will watch in the newsroom for you this morning. Governor Ron DeSantis is urging Florida West Coast residents to get ready for a tropical storm, Idalia, expected to make landfall Tuesday as a Category 1 or a Cat 2 hurricane.
But these things can shift. There's still some uncertainty out there. So please just heed the warnings of your local officials. Continue to watch the news.
Governor says to be ready for power outages. Florida's Gulf Coast could see 6 inches of rain. Jacksonville, Florida Sheriff T.K. Waters calling a gunman's manifesto the diary of a madman.
He was just completely irrational. What is irrational? What is irrational thoughts? He knew what he was doing. He was 100% lucid.
At a news conference Sunday, the sheriff identified the 21-year-old male who shot and killed 3 African Americans near a historically black university. Pentagon investigating after a deadly weekend for U.S. Marines. One of those training exercises left 3 dead after an Osprey aircraft with 23 on board crashed. Missouri's ban on transgender health care for minors takes effect today. St. Louis A circuit judge recently denied a request for a preliminary injunction, meaning the ban will become law. It keeps teens safe from risky hormone therapies, puberty blockers, and controversial transition surgeries. An Illinois judge is set to decide whether the father of a man accused of fatally shooting 7 at a suburban 4th of July parade will stand trial himself. Robert Cremo Jr. is charged with 7 counts. The father's lawyer argued at an earlier hearing that Illinois prosecutors charged his client under an unconstitutionally vague law and want the case dismissed. And officials in Burr Ridge issued a warning over the weekend on a reported sighting of a coy wolf. It's a coyote-wolf hybrid. The coy wolf, typically around 55 pounds heavier than your average coyote. It was located in the vicinity of 83rd and County Line Road. The news service of MyPillow. Big news. The MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. For a limited time, get 50% savings with promo code LIBERTY. 8:35. We'll get a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum is confident about Trump.
For indictment Trump championship, which is pretty much making fun of these fake indictments. Trump is going to win the championship on those. The gut feeling that I have based on the totality of circumstances is that Trump probably didn't do none of this stuff. It's all a witch hunt. They thought it would hurt his chances, and it just made him bigger and powerful. Then he's turned into the Incredible Hulk now.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
It makes me feel better because it's feeding my body what it needs. I could tell when I first started this it was going to do something because my mind felt better and I just felt better.
I've seen the ads on TV forever, and I happen to be an entertainer. I'm 88 years old, and as a result of Balance of Nature, I'm back doing 10 shows a month. It just improved my overall health. Balance of Nature has balanced everything out, and it has really helped tremendously.
Go to balanceofnature.com, and for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
8:37. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center as a service of Lowe's. Right now, during Labor Day savings at Lowe's, get up to $1,500 off select major kitchen appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement, valid through 8/30. Savings vary based on purchase. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details. The Eden's at a full half hour now, inbound Lake Cook Road to the junction. Outbound, due to an earlier accident, you've got brake light delays. Montrose to Church. It's an hour and 35 minutes from O'Hare into the Burn Circle on the inbound Kennedy. Back outbound right now, 37 minutes to the big airport. Hike in an hour 20 from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson an hour 15 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan in 27 minutes, 95th into the Burn Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Beautiful day ahead. High near 80 with sunshine. A moonlit sky overnight. Low 63. And a chance of a shower tomorrow. High 81. 65 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. And this installment of Why DP is Single, we turn to Eli Finkel, who's a professor of social psychology at my alma mater.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about it, what happens, Dan?
The value of my degree declines.
You darn tootin'.
He's got a new book, The All or Nothing Marriage. The biggest problem with marriages?
Men.
Right. We expect too much.
Blenders.
We expect too much from our romantic partners. And I don't like high expectations. So that's why Dan Proft is single. But let's get into some detail here. Finkel, Professor Finkel to you, said it's no longer enough for a modern marriage to simply provide a second pair of strong hands to help tend the homestead or even just a nice enough person who happens to be from the same neighborhood. Instead, people are increasingly seeking self-actualization within their marriages, expecting their partner to be all things to them.
Not going to happen.
A violinist, for example, might have a hard time finding a skilled conductor who also loves dogs and long walks on the beach on Tinder. Oh, you think? Finkel, in this interview about his book over at Steve Jobs' widow's outlet, The Atlantic. The main change in marriage has been we've added on top of the expectation that we're going to love and cherish our spouse, the expectation that our spouse will help us grow, help us become a better version of ourselves, a more authentic version of ourselves. He said it isn't totally crazy these days to hear somebody say something like, he's a wonderful man and a loving father, and I like and respect him, but I feel really stagnant in the relationship. I mean, I feel like I'm not growing, and I'm not willing to stay in a marriage where I feel stagnant for the next 30 years. How many people are feeling stagnant out there? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Amy?
I don't feel stagnant. I mean, I know a lot of women who just say, I don't know what to do anymore. I love him, and he's a good dad, but nothing's there anymore.
He's not fun. He's not exciting.
He likes to sit on the couch and play video games.
I
would never stand for
other than
Kim Fox's husband.
Yeah, other than Kim Fox's husband, who's really doing that.
Oh, no, Dan, it's a whole subculture.
Well, I'm sure that's true, but I mean, that's still a narrow slice of what's out there. Particularly
more people are doing it than you realize.
Guys in their 40s, 50s, and 60s are just playing video games. Yeah, I know. This is where you extrapolate from the anecdotal beyond all proportion.
I'm just not all, but I know women, not just of Kim Fox's ilk, that have husbands who play video games.
Finkel says it's cultural. This is not exactly groundbreaking, but he is a Northwestern professor, so. In the 60s, starting around that time, we rebelled as a society against these strict social rules of the 50s. The idea that women were supposed to be nurturing, but not particularly assertive. Men were supposed to be assertive, but not particularly nurturing. These were well-defined expectations for how people should behave. And in the 60s, our society had to hell with that. humanistic psychology got big. So these were ideas about human potential and the idea that we might strive for a more authentic, true to self sort of life. These ideas really emerged in the 30s and 40s, but got big in the 60s. And so now everybody is trying to summit Maslow's mountain, as Eli Finkel says, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He writes, or says in this interview, Maslow's hierarchy is seen as a triangle with physiological and safety at the bottom, love and belonging in the middle, esteem and self-actualization at the top. But he thinks it's more useful to conceptualize it as a mountain. As you get to the top, the air gets thin, so many people will bring supplemental oxygen. The analogy to marriage is that for those of us who are trying to reach the peak, the summit of Mount Maslow, where we can enjoy this extraordinary view, we can have this wonderful set of experiences with our spouse, a particularly satisfying marriage, but we can't do it if we're not spending the time and emotional energy to understand each other and help promote each other's personal growth. The idea of his book, The All or Nothing Marriage, is changing the nature of our expectations of marriage, changing them so that people are less disappointed by not summiting Maslow's mountain, but they put within reach the fulfillment of a new set of goals that people weren't trying to achieve before. It's the fulfillment of these goals that makes marriage particularly satisfying. I don't know. It's still a little gooey to me. He also goes on to say, there's the challenges of having a partner who's simultaneously responsible for making us feel loved and sexy and competent, but also ambitious and hungry, aspirational. How do you make somebody feel safe and loved and beautiful without making him or her feel complacent? How do you make somebody feel energetic and hungry and eager to work hard without making them feel like you disapprove of the person they currently are? And his answer, it depends. What kind of, could somebody get Prager on the phone? We need the Men-Woman Hour from Prager, the Men-Woman Hour host to answer this question. How do you make somebody feel safe and loved and beautiful without being complacent? How do you make them feel energetic and hungry and eager to work without making them feel like you disapprove of the performance they're putting in so far?
That's the age-old question.
Yeah, and the answer is it depends. Yeah, it depends, I guess, on managing your expectations or just giving up or just living separate lives or just not getting married. I said, if it weren't for all the Trump indictments, my choice in the primary might very well be Tim Scott, because even though I have great respect for Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott obviously
is smart.
Is the smartest guy on that stage.
And tell people why Tim Scott is so smart.
Because he's single.
He is a single man, yes.
I mean, that kind of insight and restraint deserves your respect. Joey on 94, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
That guy who wrote the book is dumb. All right. The problem is with the women. They've been raised all their life thinking they're princesses. When you can walk around Chicago and see a bunch of 3s and 4s that are morbidly obese thinking they're 10s, they bring nothing to the table besides a high food bill.
Wow.
That's the problem. It's the women. I'm sorry, man. They're obese. They're 3s and 4s. They think they're 10s, and they're not. And they bring nothing to the table, but their expectations, a list of what they want, is just ridiculous.
Joey, are you single?
Joey, are you fat?
Me? No, I'm married. I'm
Are
married.
you overweight?
No, he's married.
No, I'm not overweight. I'm actually fit. I hit the gym, unlike most of the women in Chicago.
No, I see a lot of women that hit the gym.
Well, right.
Because I'm in the gym to see that.
A lot of people like to say aren't obese, and you can see, man, they're a cheeseburger away from diabetes.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a huge problem. If you've traveled on a plane lately, when you watch people get on a plane, you're like,
call, Joey.
What the? I mean, the last flight I was on, they ran out of seatbelt extensions. It's like, might be a little bit of a problem here?
American women aged 20 years and above weigh an average of 170 pounds. CDC number.
She ain't a lady unless she 180.
Well,
according to Chuck from Delavan.
They're trying to get there, and I'm not saying that men are doing any better on a proportional
basis.
Yeah,
Mr. Google man over there. What about men?
That's not important.
No. What is your average weight? Because there's a lot of fat, what's rolling around Chicago too.
But that's you.
Or is that just an armrest for your, the beer belly is an armrest?
But it's irrelevant because they're not interested. I mean, yeah, you're interested, but that's not the make or break. The make or break are what's in his back pocket.
Oh, you mean how tall he is when he stands on his wallet?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That or, I'm not talking about his waistline. I'm talking about what's in his back pocket.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. Generally speaking, I'm right. I mean, there are exceptions, but I'm generally speaking, I'm right, I think. I mean, this stuff is just, he references a study where people, another Northwestern professor looked at the extent to which people look to a very small number of people to help them manage their emotions versus an array of different people to manage different sorts of emotions. It turns out that people have more diversified social portfolios, that is a larger number of people they go to for different sorts of emotions. Those people tend to have overall better quality of life. It's one of those arguments in favor of thinking seriously about looking to other people for help and asking less of your partners. Exactly. Go talk to your girlfriends. I don't care. Right? I mean, I suppose you can't say I don't care, but you say you have to use the psychobabble lingo. I'm not equipped to deal with this issue.
Yeah.
So I think, Susie Q, your friend Susie Q, would be the perfect person to help you address this emotional need, maybe financial too. Andy in the North Burbs.
Yeah, hi. I just got a new position where I'm making the same amount of money and have substantially less responsibilities and a lot more free time. And my wife tells me she thinks that it's unfair that I have that much free time and she has to work so hard, and it's really becoming stressful.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell her to quit her job and she can have all the free time she wants.
That's true. Well, she's a very hard worker.
Oh, all right.
But, yeah.
So she's jealous of your free time.
Yes.
What are you doing with your free time? Your newfound free time?
Well, I'm not doing anything because I'm trying to stay out of the argument.
You don't want to be seen. Yeah, all right.
Right.
Yeah, making yourself scarce. Yeah, very good. Thanks for the call, Andy. That's what bars are for. Scott in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, I think I found a pathway for you.
Okay.
Since 89% of all divorces are initiated by college-educated women, you just need to find yourself a non-college educated woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Scott. Probably a non-American, too, right? I mean, that's the other problem is American women. Like you have...
You're really... What's wrong with American women now, Dan?
No, I mean, you don't see anything, say problems. First of all, they weigh an average of 170 pounds. That's number one.
Okay.
But I mean, there's just it's exactly what Professor Finkel was talking about, how the cultural norms have changed over the last 50 years, and you have women who come to this country from other countries. That,
you mean like mail-ordered Mexican brides or mail-ordered
I'm not talking
Russian
about
brides?
mail-order. I'm talking about people that come of their own volition, come with family, they're here working or doing whatever, and they come from a culture that has more what we would call traditional values here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I suppose you could do the same. You probably look for like a church-going woman. You could probably be more likely than not to get those traditional values too. I mean, unless they're congregates at your church, Amy. But I mean, generally speaking, yeah. You don't see any problems? I mean, you got go. Come on, please feel free to chime in on all this. There's a lot here. Nothing to say.
I'm more upset about Bob Barker dying. Nobody cares.
I'm trying to save marriages here.
Because his wife is now single.
I'm trying to do a junior Dennis Prager. All right.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I tell you, I get no respect. So I walk into a coin shop with silver bullion for sale when the owner says, "You look like you don't have two coins to rub together." I say to him, "Bullion." He orders me to quit cussing, tosses me out the door, and I land cheeks down on my 10-pound bullion bars. Ouch! My rear end is still black and blue.
You should have come to Fox Valley Coins, where we treat every customer with respect, buying or selling.
Whether you're liquidating a collection to pay the rent or trading unwanted collectible coins, currency, and bullion for extra folding money, Fox Valley Coins is happy to see you. We also pay top dollar for scrap gold and sterling at Fox Valley Coins, the Midwest's premier coin company. Open 6 days a week, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Check us out at foxvalleycoins.com. Over 40 years of family-owned integrity. That's foxvalleycoins.com.
I'd get my butt down there, but the doctor warned me to take it easy for a week. Oh.
All right, are you tired of the heat and humidity, but more importantly, the musty, damp odor that hits you when you walk in your front door? The air from your basement or crawl space will permeate up into your living space. Do you know that the air in your home can be up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside? Well, PermaSeal can help with that. Their PermaDry air filtration and dehumidification system dehumidifies and filtrates all in one unit, controls humidity and cleans the air, prevents the increase of mold spores, and removes them. Not only does it remove mold spores, but allergens and excess humidity, but it can also purify the air throughout your entire home. PermaDry does not cost a lot of money to run either. You can save up to $189 a year in electricity costs over store-bought portables. In the warmer months, dehumidifiers seriously help your AC run more efficiently, saving you extra dollars. Be sure to ask about their crawl space encapsulation clean space basement. It will eliminate moisture, harmful allergens, and gases, regulate humidity levels and temperature, and provides some of the best pest and insect control, too. Well, they have it all. Give PermaSeal a call today to schedule your free estimate, 800-421-SEAL, or visit permaseal.net.
This is Sean Thompson, and I'm proud to tell you about the great work of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, a new partner of ours here at AM 560. Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. When a first responder or military service member doesn't come home and young children are left behind, Tunnel to Towers pays the mortgage on the family home to lift the financial burden and bring stability. For catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, Tunnel to Towers builds mortgage-free smart homes, giving our most severely injured heroes the ability to live more independent lives. You can help America's heroes and their families by supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation when you make a small donation of just $11 a month. Go to T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org. T2T.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
It makes me feel better because it's feeding my body what it needs. I could tell when I first started this it was going to do something because my mind felt better and I just felt better.
I've seen the ads on TV forever, and I happen to be an entertainer. I'm 88 years old, and as a result of Balance of Nature, I'm back doing 10 shows a month. It just improved my overall health. Balance of Nature has balanced everything out, and it has really helped tremendously.
Go to balanceofnature.com, and for a limited time for Labor Day, get 40% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This offer ends September 5th. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
I tell you, I get no respect. So I walk into a coin shop with silver bullion for sale when the owner says, you look like you don't have two coins to rub together. I say to him, bullion. He orders me to quit cussing, tosses me out the door, and I land cheeks down on my 10-pound bullion bars. Ouch! My rear end is still black and blue.
You should have come to Fox Valley Coins, where we treat every customer with respect, buying or selling. Whether you're liquidating a collection to pay the rent or trading unwanted collectible coins, currency, and bullion for extra folding money, Fox Valley Coins is happy to see you. We also pay top dollar for scrap gold and sterling at Fox Valley Coins, the Midwest's premier coin company. Open 6 days a week, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Check us out at foxvalleycoins.com. Over 40 years of family-owned integrity. That's foxvalleycoins.com.
I'd get my butt down there, but the doctor warned me to take it easy for a week. Oh.
AM 560, The Answer.
2 seconds to talk about Bob Barker dying. So sweet. His best moment ever wasn't being a fighter pilot in the Navy or, being a talk show or, game
Price
show
is
host for
Right.
35 years.
Right.
Yeah, it was the Happy Gilmore scene. Beating up Adam Sandler.
I did beat up Happy Gilmore. I crushed him after I'd finally finished him off, and he was obviously out. I said, now you've had enough.
You little B word. That's what he said.
Bitch.
Yeah, that's what he said. So
yeah, alpha males, not bitches here. R.A.P. Bob Barker, get your pet spayed or neutered.
Yes, it's now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
They have about 48 hours to get ready. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. For Idalia, the tropical storm now forecast to grow to a hurricane and hit Florida's Gulf Coast Wednesday.
Floridians should expect that this storm will be a major Cat 3 plus hurricane. So please prepare accordingly.
That's Governor Ron DeSantis, who moments ago spoke to President Biden, and the president approved an emergency declaration for the state as Idalia approaches. It could hit anywhere from Tampa to the Panhandle. Now, Governor DeSantis, who's a Republican running for president, heard some boos yesterday in Jacksonville at a vigil for the 3 black people targeted and killed Saturday by gunmen who then committed suicide, leaving behind white supremacist writings.
We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
Jacksonville Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman in DeSantis' defense.
If the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts because we've been through enough already.
The governor says the state is identifying funding to assist the victims' families and enhance security at Edward Waters University, the historically black college near where the shooting took place.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Former President Trump's lawyers are in court this hour in Washington, trying to convince a federal judge to set an April 2026 trial date in the criminal case related to his attempts to overturn the last election. The special counsel is pushing for a January 2nd trial next year. Meanwhile, in Georgia,
a federal judge in Atlanta hears arguments on whether the indictment against Mark Meadows should be considered by federal courts instead of state judges in Georgia. Meadows, who was former President Trump's chief of staff, is one of 19 co-defendants accused in a scheme to overturn Georgia's election results. Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis brought the charges under state racketeering laws.
Fox's Jared Halpern, and Reuters just reported former President Trump's arraignment in Georgia will be September 6th. America's listening to Fox News.
What's the best way to stop?
66 degrees at 9:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An Illinois judge is set to decide whether the father of the man accused of fatally shooting 7 at a suburban 4th of July parade will stand trial himself. Robert Cremo Jr. is charged with 7 counts of reckless conduct. Father's lawyer argued at an earlier hearing that Illinois prosecutors charged his client under an unconstitutionally vague law and want that case dismissed. A 20-year-old man was killed in a shooting during a robbery in the parking lot at a gas station in the Calumet Heights neighborhood early this morning. It happened at a Shell gas station along East 95th. Area 2 detectives say there's no one in custody. 2 fans were injured during a shooting at this weekend's White Sox game against the A's. Chicago police say a 42-year-old woman was shot in the leg. A 26-year-old woman was shot in her abdomen. The White Sox say they weren't aware at first that a woman was injured during Friday's game. A pair of women are looking at a laundry list of charges after a high-speed chase in Wisconsin. The women were arrested Saturday night after a chase through Fond du Lac County. Police say the car was stolen here in the Chicago area, and the women inside were local suspects in a theft ring. Police also found drugs in that car. Cubs beat the Pirates 10-1. Mike Clevenger and the White Sox bested the A's 6-1 at guaranteed rate. The news service of the AM 560 store. Go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get